Chapter 563. Woodleaf is looking for Sanbai. Akatsuki is also looking for Sanbai. At this time, Naruto is in the land of demons. A small farm on the outskirts of the land of demons is Shizun's new home. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Quickly get out of the way. Naruto just brought Hinata to Shizun's house when the wooden door of Shizun's house was knocked open from the inside. A youth riding a ferocious domestic pig galloped out. Naruto and Hinata are both stunned, and then subconsciously move to the side, letting the ferocious family head pass by. Naruto-kun. That wouldn't be Shizun's son, right? Naruto is also a bit confused, but just now Naruto saw that on the back of the domestic pig, the little boy is holding a little pig in his arms. If I am not mistaken, it should be Tun-Tun. If my guess is correct, that should be it. To be honest, this is a very amazing encounter. From the information that Naruto obtained from the underground trading house, Shizun's son should only be 3.5 years old this year. The nominal age is only 4.5 years old. Just when Naruto and Hinata are dumbfounded. In the farmhouse, a woman's stern voice resounds. Little bastard. If you dare to run, don't come back. Following this shout, a sturdy woman rushed out from the courtyard. Although she is sturdy, the most important thing is that this woman is really too fat. In terms of momentum, she is comparable to the domestic pig from earlier. The woman rushed out with a ferocious look. At the same time she saw Naruto and Hinata standing in front of the house. Naruto and Hinata stare at the woman in front of them and suddenly have a bold guess in their heart. The woman in front of them can't be Shizun, right? If seeing the 3.5-year-old kid riding a pig and racing a car is amazing, then seeing the beauty in front of them is shocking. You are here to ask for directions? When they first met, Shizun didn't recognize Naruto and Hinata. Naruto took a deep breath and gathered his courage. Ahem, is this Mr. Fujiwara's house? Fujiwara Tofuku was the name of the man on mute. Naruto learned about this from the information he obtained from the underground market. When Shizun heard that they were looking for her family, she immediately turned into a pretty girl from a humble family. She bowed and replied in a soft voice, Yes, I am Tofuku Fujiwara's wife. May I ask? Naruto suddenly couldn't hear the rest of the words clearly. Naruto felt a little dizzy and his ears were ringing. It had only been 3 years. How could a person change so much? Where's the slender mute? Although Naruto and Shizun didn't get along, he should be happy to see her like this. But in fact, Naruto only felt one word: panic. What should he say? Was time really a butcher's knife? Naruto was petrified. Seeing that Naruto didn't reply for a long time, Shizun couldn't help but ask again. Excuse me, are you here for Tofuku? Naruto finally came back to his senses. I'm not here for your husband. I'm here for you. Shizun carefully looked at Naruto again. At this time, Shizun finally saw a trace of familiarity on Naruto's face. But for a moment, she couldn't remember where she had seen it. Looking at Hinata again, the Hyuga's eyes were very unique. The reason why she didn't notice it before was mainly because 3 years of living as a peasant woman didn't make her think in this direction. You are from the Hyuga clan. You are from Woodleaf? Shizun's expression became complicated. Although it was a question, she could already confirm Hinata's identity. It was really because the Hyuga's eyes were too unique. Then there was the aura of ninja on Naruto and Hinata. Then she said to herself, I didn't expect to see people from Woodleaf after 3 years. You are actually here for Tsunade-sama. Unfortunately, Tsunade-sama left the land of demons 3 years ago. And I don't know where she is now. Shizun misunderstood Naruto and Hinata as Woodleaf ninjas who were chasing after Tsunade. Naruto quickly explained. That you misunderstood. We are here for you. That Shizun-sen, don't you recognize me? Naruto pointed to his face. Shizun looked at him again. Sorry, although I feel that you are a bit familiar, but I really can't remember you for a while. Wait, you called me Shizun-san? Shizun's eyes suddenly widened. Although there were many people who called Shizun-san, not to mention others in this village, there were many in the past. But there were definitely not many in Woodleaf. Shizun stared at Naruto and opened her mouth. You are no way 3 years, it doesn't make sense for you to grow so big. Naruto knew that Shizun remembered, so he nodded. Shizen couldn't believe it. Are you really Naruto? You have changed a lot in the past 3 years. You seem to have matured a lot. Hearing that the change was not small, Naruto only felt a little embarrassed. In terms of change, Naruto felt that he couldn't compare to Shizen. But it was better not to say this sentence. Naruto felt that it was better not to provoke Shizen when she rushed out like a wild boar. So he pointed to Hinata. You have also seen this, Hinata. Shizen hurriedly turned sideways and invited the two inside. Don't stand outside, come in and sit. After entering the room, Shizen made tea for the two. Then they started chatting. Before Naruto came, he thought of various ways to meet. But none of them were like the one in front of him. Is the child I saw at the door your son? At the mention of her son, Shizen smiled embarrassedly. I let you see it. That child was led astray by Tun Tun. He knows how to make trouble all day long. Tian is in a mess. That's true. Naruto quickly praised. Naughty children are good. The more naughty boys are, the smarter they grow up. Shizen covered her mouth and laughed. Don't say, you were quite naughty at that time. Now you are indeed a lot more reliable. Naruto. Why did it suddenly come to him? But Naruto really didn't care too much. After chatting for a while, the conversation finally got to the main topic. What are you doing here this time? Shizen asked, and Naruto didn't hide it. He replied. To tell you the truth, Tsunade-san is at my place now. I won't tell you where she is, so as not to cause you trouble. I'm here this time to ask if you want to live in another place. I can guarantee that that place is more comfortable than here to some extent. Hearing this sentence, Shizen was taken aback, and then hesitated. Tsunade-sama wants me to go there? Naruto replied honestly. Tsunade-sama said that the decision is in your hands, and she wants you to make your own decision. Hearing this, Naruto saw that Shizen was obviously relieved. Shizen was likely to refuse his proposal. This was what Naruto could judge from Shizen's reaction. Shizen replied, well, I have to discuss it with my husband. Naruto nodded and said, of course. For a while, both sides were silent, and the atmosphere was a little awkward. Naruto thought for a while and took the initiative to get up. Well, we won't bother you today. We will come again tomorrow, and you can tell us your decision. Shizen hurriedly urged him to stay. You just came to the land of demons and don't have a place to stay, right? Why don't you stay at my house, as long as you don't mind? Naruto waved his hand again and again. What are you talking about? Your house is much better than Sandame's. But we still won't bother you, so as not to cause you trouble. And we have already found a good hotel. It would be a waste if we don't stay there. Seeing that Naruto insisted on leaving, Shizen got up and sent the two to the door. Before Naruto left, Shizen finally couldn't help but ask, how is Tsunade-sama? Naruto replied with a smile, that guy still eats, sleeps, and gambles like that. Fortunately, the gambling place was opened by me, otherwise, she would have gambled herself in. Hearing this sentence, Shizen laughed a little. You are really master and apprentice. After leaving Shizen's house, Hinata asked, Naruto-kun, we didn't open a hotel. Naruto explained, if that's the case, the other party can't ask us to stay. If we really stay at her house, it will only bring her trouble. Don't forget that I am a wanted criminal in Woodleaf. Hinata nodded. Then should I go find a hotel now? Naruto looked at the sky. It's still early, let's find a chance to meet the witch of the land of demons. Chapter 564. In the land of ghosts, the status of a witch was very special. It could be said that she was a commoner or a noble. She was a commoner because she was not a royal family, had no official position, and had no real power. But it was also right to say that she was a noble, because the witch family had a large independent house, the kind that was very imposing, even compared to the place where the daimyo of the land of ghosts lived. There were almost 1,000 servants in the house, and there were even private armed forces. This special status made Naruto think of the ancient European church. It was a theocracy. Not to mention, it was a bit interesting to think of it this way. At the same time, because of this special status, it was not easy to see the witch. In a restaurant, Naruto and Hinata ordered a sumptuous meal. After tea, Naruto called the waiter. I have something to discuss with you. Naruto took out a banknote and handed it to the waiter of the restaurant. At first, the waiter wanted to be polite and express the noble character of the largest restaurant in the land of ghosts. However, after seeing the amount of the banknote, he directly bowed down. In addition, this was a private room, so there was even less reason to hesitate. What do you want to ask? I will definitely tell you everything I know. I have been in this restaurant for most of my life. I may not know much about other things, but whether the news is reliable or not, I know the most. Whether the news is reliable or not. This person was a bit interesting. I heard that the witch of your land of ghosts is particularly efficacious. I want to know how to meet her. Naruto looked at the person in front of him. He wanted to know from the waiter's expression whether the information he knew was reliable or not, so that he would not be fooled. When the waiter heard Naruto's words, he obviously relaxed a lot. It could be seen that Naruto's question was not beyond the waiter's ability. You want to see the witch living in the mansion? Naruto was surprised. Why are there other witches in your land of ghosts? The waiter of the restaurant smiled and said, Of course there are. After all, the witch of the land of ghosts is too famous, and not everyone can meet her, so there will be some other witches. The waiter didn't continue, but his expression showed what he meant. It was nothing more than saying that those people were swindlers who did it for money and had no real ability. Naruto nodded, indicating that he understood. Then the waiter looked at Naruto from head to toe. Judging from your appearance, you should be quite skilled, right? Although Naruto was a little puzzled as to why the shop assistant asked this question, he still nodded. The shop assistant continued. Please don't take offense, I just heard that Mr. Witch is currently recruiting guards. If you don't mind, you can meet Mr. Witch through this route. Other than that, you can also go there through money. However, it's not that simple to ask Mr. Witch for help. With that said, the waiter moved closer to Naruto, lowered his head, and whispered for a while. After that, the waiter left, but came back in after a while. You've given me a lot of money. If I don't say something, I'll feel uneasy. After you meet Mr. Witch, if Mr. Witch says that you are going to die, please do not hesitate to leave Mr. Witch's side. Otherwise, you will really die. After saying that, the shop assistant left and never returned. The mysterious look on the shop assistant's face frightened Hinata. Naruto-kun, we should just ignore this Mr. Witch. Naruto smiled and said, It doesn't matter, I have already checked this information before. If it weren't for the fact that Mr. Witch is really special, I wouldn't have gone looking for her. Hinata was still worried. Naruto-kun, what did the shop assistant whisper just now? The shop assistant's voice was so low that even Hinata, who was standing so close to him, did not hear it. However, the most important thing was that Naruto had the system's barrier around him. Other systems' perception barriers would not be able to detect Naruto. Otherwise, no matter how low the voice was, the perception barrier would still be able to detect it. Naruto simply replied. He said that just giving money is not enough, you have to give it to the right person. Otherwise, you still won't be able to see her. Let's go, I'll go see if I can enter the way to recruit guards. Recruit guards? Hinata did not understand. He was sitting on more than half of the Snow Country's property, as well as the entire flow of funds from the underground exchange. Naruto should be best at money. Why would he want to be a guard if he could use money? Also, if those guys from the Mercenary Academy knew that their principal was a guard for someone else, they would probably directly come over and destroy the country of ghosts. After all, Naruto had long been deified in the Mercenary Academy, the Snow Country, and even the underground exchange. Naruto-kun, why don't you use money to meet her directly? Naruto replied. That way, you can only meet her once. At most, she can tell my fortune. Why would I need her to tell my fortune? This sentence made Hinata even more confused. 5 minutes later, Naruto and Hinata arrived at the house of the country of ghosts. After reporting that he was here to apply for a guard position, he was directly let in and led to a big room. The moment Naruto entered the big room, there were already a lot of people, and many of them looked fierce. There were also some people who revealed a strange expression after seeing Hinata. Some of them were even bolder and took the initiative to say hello. Hello little beauty, let's get to know each other. You can call me Brown Bear, everyone else calls me that. Naruto raised his eyebrows and looked at the guy who had a simple and honest name, but was not simple and honest at all. Uncle, how old are you this year? This sentence made the whole room suddenly quiet. Then there was the sound of earth-shattering laughter, the kind that was unscrupulous. The man who was called Uncle was actually not that old. He was not even 30 years old, about 25 years old, but his hair was a little white. Obviously he was still very young, but he already had white hair. Therefore this call of uncle was very interesting. The man blushed from the ridicule around him, and couldn't help but fly into a rage out of humiliation. Little thing, be careful of trouble from the mouth. Naruto glanced at the man. Old fart, be careful not to sprain your waist. The man stared at Naruto, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. Naruto was too lazy to care about the other party. He reminded him first. If the other party really attacked him, then he could only say sorry. And Naruto was not too unreasonable. Hinata was beautiful, and everyone loved beauty. He understood this point. It was not illegal to look, and there was no loss. Just like the others, Naruto did not find fault with them. But if they crossed the line, not to mention killing, Naruto could do crueler things. Just as the guy who called himself Brown Bear stared at Naruto, Naruto waited for him to attack, and the others were waiting for the two sides to fight. The door of the room opened again, and 3 more people were sent in. The gatekeeper at the door shouted, "Almost all the people are here, a total of 52 people, we only accept 5. I won't say more, I'll close the door in a while, you can fight among yourselves to find 5 winners, then come out and report." After saying that, the gatekeeper left. The tense atmosphere in the room was pushed to the peak by the gatekeeper's words. The brown bear smiled with a simple and honest face. "Little thing, kneel down and beg me now. I can give you a bite to eat and give you a place." Naruto replied, "I don't need you to kneel down, apologize to me now, and I promise you won't die without descendants." Chapter 565. Boy, you are courting death. The brown bear said and punched Naruto's abdomen. Naruto didn't dodge and took the hit. But as a result, Naruto was fine, but the brown bear's right arm was directly broken. For a time, screams resounded throughout the house. Naruto's eyes slightly condensed. It was a powerful punch, and he used chakra. It can be seen that even if the person in front of him is not a ninja, he still has some ninja skills. Just like the samurai of the Land of Iron, they don't know ninjutsu, but they can use chakra on their swords. I haven't made a move yet and you fell down. You dare to tease people like this? I'm afraid you are a fool. Naruto looked at the brown bear curled up on the ground with no expression. The pain of the broken arm made the brown bear's face red, and the blue veins on his face were exposed, and bean-sized sweat kept flowing. The brown bear knew at this time that he really kicked an iron plate this time. The reason why he can act arrogantly is mainly because he knows a little method to extract chakra. I was wrong, please don't kill me. The brown bear didn't act arrogantly. At this time, he knew very well that he might die today. However, at this time, the slender woman who has been squatting by the window suddenly jumped out, like a cat. The back of her hand stretched out from the cuff of her sleeve and directly cut off the brown bear's neck, and the brown bear's head was cut off. Then she turned and retreated, and did not continue to attack Naruto. Blood splattered all over the ground along with the brown bear's head. With a gulyalu sound, the head rolled until it hit the wall. Naruto couldn't help but frown when he saw this. In fact, he didn't intend to kill the brown bear. At most, according to what he said just now, he will kill the brown bear. The woman who was as agile as a cat didn't explain anything. After killing the brown bear, she rushed to the others. The claws of her hands stretched out and retracted, and her figure jumped and leaped in the house, killing most of the people in the house. For a time, the heads on the ground were like potatoes rolling out of a bag, scattered all over the ground. The fresh blood was like a tomato that was on its period. There was no beauty in it, only blood and a foul stench. The people who were killed had a few things in common. First of all, they were all men. Secondly, they were all the people who were looking at Hinata lecherously just now. This girl must have a story. Although Naruto had some guesses in his heart, he did not intend to delve into it. No one took the initiative to provoke him again, so he just watched from the side. However, the remaining people seemed to have been scared out of their wits by the girl, and had no intention of attacking. The girl retracted her hooked claws and walked out of the room. Cool girl. Then Naruto and Hinata also walked out. When the gatekeeper saw the three people coming out, he didn't ask any questions. He didn't even have the intention to take a look at the house. He waved his hand and whispered in an old voice, "Come with me. I'll take you to see Lord Zusui." Azusama? Wasn't he going to meet Miko directly? Well, he was recruiting people from the outside. There was no trust in the people he recruited. It was very dangerous to bring them to meet Miko directly. Zusui was a gentle-looking man wearing glasses. He was wearing a dark kimono and a tall hat. Naruto glanced at him. He was almost sure that this guy's physique was even worse than a farmer's. "My name is Zusui. I'm the head of Miko's guards. You will follow my orders in the future." "Well, you can also introduce yourselves." The girl glanced at Naruto and Hinata. Seeing that neither of them spoke, she said, "Mountain cat, good at killing people." So simple. Zusui's eyes fell on Naruto. Naruto replied, "Mountain chicken, good at killing people." Shameless copy and paste. The girl in front heard Naruto's words and looked back at Naruto. Then, without waiting for Hinata to speak, Naruto directly introduced, "This is my sister, Shanshan, good at killing people." Well, three people, all with the surname Shan. Zusui didn't see anything wrong and nodded seriously. "So you are together?" The girl said expressionlessly, "I don't know them." Hearing this, Zusui was a little confused. She turned to look at the old man who came with Naruto and the others. It seemed that now was not the right time to ask directly. Zusui thought it would not be too late to ask after sending these people away. She cleared her throat to hide her embarrassment. "During the period of employment, if you need to go out, please report to me first." After saying a few simple rules in a row, Zusui told the old man at the door, "Butler, take them to their rooms to rest." The old man, who was regarded as the gatekeeper by Naruto, bowed slightly and raised his arm to lead the way. "Everyone this way, please." That's it. Then Naruto, Hinata, and the girl were each arranged a room. Also, the recruitment was for external recruitment, and it was not enough to trust them. Directly bringing them to the Miko-sama, the potential danger is too great. Spiritual network. Hinata sent a private message to Naruto. "Naruto-kun, are we just going to wait here?" Naruto replied, "Isn't it good to have someone provide food and accommodation? Just think of it as coming out to play." Hinata nodded. Since Naruto made a decision, she naturally had no objection. "Then, are we still going to see Sister Shizune tomorrow?" For Shizune, Naruto felt that most likely she would not choose to leave. This could be seen from the fact that she directly asked if it was Tsunade's idea. If Naruto said it was Tsunade's idea, then Shizune might have fought for it. But now it was difficult. "When the time comes, I'll send a clone to take a look." The night was silent, and Naruto, who wanted to be a gentleman, did not launch a night attack on Hinata. Everything was as usual. In the afternoon of the second day, Naruto and the others met the Miko-sama. It was not a private meeting. His perception barrier swept through the courtyard, and it was full of archers in the dark. On the left and right of the Miko-sama, in addition to Asuho, there were several seemingly extraordinary guards with swords. "My lord, I've brought them here," Asuho announced expressionlessly. The Miko-sama of the Land of Demons had white hair. It was not Kakashi's silver hair, but a warm, yellowish white. Neat bangs, a princess hairstyle. It was a small section of hair on both sides of the bangs that reached above and below the cheeks. Her appearance and eyes looked somewhat similar to Hinata's. The difference was that the Miko-sama Aster's eyes were lavender, and her pupils were blurred and empty. The Miko-sama looked over, and the first person she saw was Hinata. Her expression was slightly stunned. Obviously, the Miko-sama also felt the similarity between her and Hinata's appearance. She even suspected that she had a younger sister, or an older sister. Then she looked at Naruto. Ding ding ding. The bell beside the Miko-sama rang softly, and the color of Aster's eyes darkened. As her pupils dilated, she saw an illusion. At the bottom of the magma valley, The monster in the magma stretched out several long tentacles like a squid and attacked the red-haired young man in front of it. The red-haired man moved nimbly and cut off several monster tentacles in succession. The man shouted her name, and then a tentacle suddenly penetrated the man's back. Then she cried, "Naruto." Aster came back to her senses and raised her hand to touch the corner of her eye. It was a tear. This was a tear affected by the emotions of the future. She actually shed tears because of the death of the boy in front of her. "Your name is Naruto? Leave, you will die if you follow me." The Miko-sama said, then waved her sleeve and said, "I'm tired, tell everyone to leave." Naruto. Chapter 566. How did the Miko of the Land of Demons know Naruto's real name? Naruto-kun didn't introduce his real name at all. Information about the Land of Demons? That's even more impossible. Even the underground trading house doesn't have information about Naruto. There's also the Akatsuki. Is the information about the Land of Demons better than the Akatsuki and the underground trading house? If that's the case, the Land of Demons won't be a small country that can't even be compared to the 5 major countries. Hearing the Miko of the Land of Demons call out Naruto's name, Hinata felt that her heart was almost in her throat. He felt a chill in his heart. The restaurant waiter's words suddenly brushed through her heart. "You gave me a lot of money. If I don't say something, I will feel a little guilty." After you see Miko-sama, if Miko-sama says that you are going to die, please don't hesitate to leave Miko-sama's side immediately, otherwise, you will really die. The "you" in the words referred to Naruto. Those words were the information that Naruto bought from the restaurant with money. Hinata couldn't help but look at Naruto. Spiritual network. Hinata privately messaged Naruto. "Naruto-kun, let's leave the Land of Demons? If you want to relax, you can go to other places. I heard from Tsunade-sama that the hot springs in the Land of Hot Water are very comfortable." Hinata was worried about Naruto, but Naruto didn't care and replied, "It's okay, believe me, I won't die." At the same time, Preserved Egg in Naruto's body shared vision with Naruto and stared at the bell on the witch's body. "The rule on that bell is strange. It can transfer cause and effect. And that bell seems to be locked onto you," Naruto replied. "According to the development of the original world, it seems to be like this. By the way, can you eat the rule on that bell?" Preserved Egg hesitated for the first time. "If possible, it's best not to touch that thing. That thing has some kind of connection with the will of this world. In my opinion, leaving this guy is the best choice, just like Hinata. This thing seems to only be effective within a certain range around the witch. If that's the case." For the first time, Naruto felt that the matters of the country of ghosts were difficult to handle. After Century Egg ate the Grim Reaper, Naruto thought that Century Egg could eat anything. No, the Rinnegan egg he obtained from Nagato also said something similar, so Naruto hasn't used the Rinnegan until now. According to Preserved Egg, the rules involved in Rinnegan touch the core rules of the world. If he used it now, it would be easily noticed by the will of the world. Therefore, it would only be safe to use it after Jubi's chakra was analyzed. Naruto chose not to move the Rinnegan, but the matter of the Land of Demons. Naruto didn't want to leave like this. The blood of death that had calmed down for a few years seemed to boil again. After Naruto and the others left the courtyard, Zusui said with dissatisfaction, "Elizabeth-sama, these people were hired to protect you. They should die for you. You doing this? I'm under a lot of pressure. You also know that would Leaf refuse the commission, your safety is now not guaranteed." Aster's face was indifferent. "You also leave, I want to be alone." Zusui sighed and said a few words to the guards around her before turning and leaving. After Zusui left, Aster returned to the house alone and looked at the bell in her hand in a daze. The transparent bell was the talisman left by her mother. Usually, it wouldn't ring. Only when she saw the illusion of death would she hear the sound of the bell. And every time, the person who died was the closest to her. Aster couldn't help but think of the boy she just saw in the courtyard. From the illusion of death, she knew that the person was called Naruto. Thinking of the tears at that time, Aster's heart was curious about the boy she had never met before. She whispered to herself, "What kind of person is Naruto? Why would I cry because of his death? In the past few years, Aster was almost numb to the death of the people around her. She rarely shed tears. In her own words, no matter how many tears she shed, they would eventually dry up. But this time was obviously different. Recalling the illusion of death, she cried heartbreakingly in the illusion. That kind of sadness seemed to have not been experienced since her mother passed away. That boy, will he become an important person like her mother? Aster didn't know. Aster's heart recalled the appearance of Naruto. That flame-like red hair was very beautiful, just like the sunset she watched with her mother when she was a child. And that white and tender face, that guy's skin, seemed to be better than hers. Thinking of this, Aster couldn't help but complain. I don't know how that guy Sui selected the guards for me. That guy is so beautiful, his strength is definitely not that good. While Aster was talking about Naruto, Naruto was standing not far from her, eating the fruits that were originally prepared for her. The invisibility barrier completely concealed Naruto. Naruto could see Aster, but Aster couldn't see Naruto. Not only could she not see him, but she also couldn't hear the sound of Naruto eating. Even the fragrance of the fruits was contained within the barrier. Naruto ate the fruits while listening to Aster's muttering. For a moment, he couldn't help but feel suspicious. Who was this girl talking about? Could it be him? Naruto condensed an ice mirror in his hand and looked at himself. Narcissistically he sighed. Tisk, I've become more handsome. As for the underestimation of his strength, it was completely ignored. Aster continued to murmur. But if I keep him by my side he will die, so I can't think about him anymore. Let him go as far away as possible. Chapter 567. Shincloud Village. In the Iwagakure office, Reikage looked at the commission in his hand and frowned. A commission from the country of demons, S-Class 2 million Ryo deposit. It can be said that this is a very lucrative task. But what makes Reikage hesitant is that the country of demons and the country of fire are inextricably linked. And in the past, the task of the country of demons was given to Woodleaf. Reikage thought for a while, then threw the commission aside and pondered alone. Although 2 million Ryo is very expensive, Kumogakure's financial resources are far more than that after occupying the country of fire. In other words, he really doesn't care about this money now. Moreover, the war is urgent, and Kumogakure is divided into two parts to occupy two countries, which is a bit difficult. In this case, it's not worth it to send people out to do this kind of task. Reply to the country of demons, Kumogakure refuses the commission at this stage. Reikage said, and the secretary beside him respectfully replied, yes. But it said that the demon has the power to destroy the world. The secretary hesitated. Reikage said disdainfully, it's just the power to destroy the world in the eyes of ordinary people. The bijou also has the power to destroy the world in their eyes. Isn't the world still existing? And the bijou has long been used by us. The secretary bowed again and said, understood, I know what to do. At the same time, four pale-faced people in white robes came to the periphery of the country of demons. The four stood on the top of a tree and looked at the country of demons from afar. Is this the country of demons? I don't seem to feel the presence of strong people. The person who spoke was a man with purple hair. He stood in front, and the other three stood behind him. He seemed to be the leader. The man with yellow hair said, I heard that the country of demons doesn't even have an exclusive ninja. This task should be regarded as an outing. Another man with white hair and a veil asked, then, do we still use the little earthworms that the Lord gave us? The man with purple hair thought for a while. That thing is precious after all, let's test it first. Let's go, don't let the Lord wait. The man with purple hair took the lead and rushed out. This scene fell into the eyes of Hinata Ninji, who was also hiding in the forest. Hinata Ninji was able to read their lips based on the movements of their lips. It seems that the country of ghosts has indeed encountered an external enemy. Sasai said expressionlessly. This has nothing to do with us. We are only responsible for collecting information and passing it back. What did you see? Sasai took out the letter bucket and held a pen. It looked like he was going to record it. Hinata Ninji briefly explained what he saw and his guess. Instead of writing, Sasai put the pen away. That's just your guess. Our mission this time is to collect accurate information before sending it back. If you can't prove it, then let's wait until you can. Hinata Ninji did not refute. Instead, he chose to close his eyes. I need to rest. According to their speed, they will reach the shrine in 6 minutes. 5 minutes later, Hinata Ninji activated Byakugan again and looked at the Temple of Light. The 4 of them were getting closer. The speed of these people was very close to Hinata Ninji's judgment. Hinata Ninji looked in the direction of these people and looked at the Temple of Light again. There's something in the temple. In Byakugan vision, Hinata Ninji saw a hemisphere with chakras fluctuation beside the witch. It's a barrier. Hinata Ninji narrowed his eyes and his whole body tensed up. What will be inside the barrier? Will it be Kumogakure's ninja? Hinata Ninji stared at the barrier, waiting for the moment when these 4 people came to the door. They met. 4 ninjas appeared in the temple. Because the 4 of them didn't hide and went straight in, the guards around the temple also found their traces. However, ordinary arrows were nothing against these people. The 4 of them barged in as if there was no one around them. Just as the 4 of them approached the Temple of Light, the circular barrier around the Temple of Light was suddenly lifted. The people inside the barrier protected the Temple of Light and kicked the 4 ninjas. There was only one person inside the barrier. Who is this person? Is he a Kumogakure's ninja? Hinata Ninji stared at the person who came out of the barrier. After looking for a long time, he found that he couldn't recognize him. This person didn't have a forehead protector, and Chakra's reaction was weak, indicating that the other party didn't use chakra just now. He just used taijutsu. As the saying goes, the layman watches the fun, and the expert watches the skill. From the speed of the 4 ninjas, Hinata Ninji could speculate their strength. It should be Chunin's strength close to Jonin's. For Chunin's strength close to Jonin's were defeated by a person who didn't use chakra. The only person in Konoha who can do this is Gai-sensei. Can this person's taijutsu strength be comparable to Kai-sensei? In addition to Reikage, there is someone in Kumogakure with such powerful taijutsu. I found a ninja who isn't in the file. I suspect it's a high-level umbu of Kumogakure. Hinata Ninji continued to stare at the battle, while telling Sasai what he saw. Miko's bedroom. Shigaya's eyes widened, staring at Naruto standing in front of her. His red hair flew in her eyes, and his handsome face overlapped with a figure she had been looking forward to for a long time. Handsome. The next moment, the person's figure disappeared. He took the initiative to attack the enemy, and with the help of the perception barrier, Gentle Fist 8 trigrams 64 palms. After a set, all 64 acupuncture points were sealed. The purple-haired ninja was horrified. What did you do to me? Why can't I feel my chakra? Naruto didn't answer immediately, and used the same method to subdue the other 3. You don't even know the Hyuga clan's Gentle Fist. How do you survive? Naruto mocked with contempt. The purple-haired ninja was surprised. Are you a wood-leaf ninja? As he spoke, in the perception barrier, Naruto saw a small snake-like thing in the ninja's body seem to have received some order, and took the initiative to send chakra. Naruto pretended not to know and replied, "No." After the purple-haired youth felt chakra, a smile suddenly appeared on his face. The Hyuga clan's Gentle Fist is only SSO. Do you think I can't do anything to you just because you sealed my chakra? While speaking, the man used chakra, and a few curse-like face lines suddenly appeared on his face, and his hands formed hand seals. Earth release. Earth corridor. The earth waves violently rolled out from under the house, forming a continuous maze-like earth wall, separating Naruto and the others from each other. At the same time, 3 more chakra snakes flew out from the man's body and rushed to the 3 people. Use combined ninjutsu. The man shouted. However, the 3 chakra snakes were caught in midair by an invisible big hand. Naruto was very calm. I sealed your acupuncture points because I found this interesting thing on your body. Otherwise, do you think you can still jump around? Let me test your strength. As for the other 3, I will keep them for research. While talking, Naruto launched an attack on the man. Outside the demon land, Hinata Ninji's face was full of disbelief. What did he see? He saw an outsider use gentle fist. Hinata Ninji stared at the eye patch on Naruto's left eye and said with certainty, I found a Kimogakure ninja. That person transplanted Byakugan. Sasai was surprised. Byakugan? Hinata Ninji affirmed. Yes, it should be the one that Kimogakure took from the mist. It must be Byakugan, otherwise, it's impossible to use the Hyuga clan's gentle fist. Hinata Ninji was convinced. But how did the opponent learn the Hyuga clan's gentle fist? Sasai was still calm. Even if it's your clan's Byakugan, you can't act rashly. This matter should be reported to the higher-ups first. And since the opponent has Byakugan, we have to be more careful. Chapter 568. You are Woodleaf's ninja? Didn't Woodleaf refuse the commission? When Naruto defeated all the enemies, Aster asked the question in her heart. Obviously, she also regarded Naruto as a member of the Hyuga clan. I'm not Woodleaf's ninja, gentle fist. I learned it by accident. Miko-sama, do you want to interrogate these people, or do you want me to do it for you? Aster didn't really care whether Naruto was Woodleaf's ninja or not. She was just curious because Wu Nan and her daughter had nothing to say in the bedroom. I'll leave these people to you. I don't think you can get anything out of them. Naruto nodded with a smile. This is a wise choice. Handing over ninjas to ordinary people for interrogation is really hard to get anything out of. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps outside. However, those people were blocked by the wall. Break the wall. Miko-sama must not have an accident. Quick. The sound of the wall being smashed was heard, but Naruto ignored it and disappeared with the four people. Without the support of the caster, the wall made by chakra quickly collapsed. The guard commander with glasses rushed in. Aster-sama, are you okay? Aster-sama is what Aster calls her in private. If there is a sacrifice or an outsider, she will call her Miko-sama or Aster-sama. I'm fine. I'm going to the side hall. You find someone to repair it for me. When the wall collapsed, Aster went out. Aster quickly stopped her. The ninjas are missing. At this time, don't, Aster interrupted. Those people have been dealt with, you don't have to worry about them. Arrange someone to help me repair it, and then go back and count the casualties. Dealt with? How could they be dealt with? Who dealt with them? Zusui continued to follow Aster and asked. Aster briefly explained the matter. And after learning that it was her who brought the ninjas, Aster's heart was relieved. That's great, I'll go and visit this Miko-sama again. With this Miko-sama's protection, your safety will be guaranteed. Aster's face didn't smile. No, I will let him leave the land of demons tonight. Aster's body froze. She finally found a backer, and now she wants to drive him away? Aster-sama, your safety, Aster replied. Didn't you send a commission to Kimogakure? With that said, regardless of Aster's dissuasion, she went to the side hall alone. At the moment when the four ninjas rushed in front of her, she suddenly felt a sense of relief. If she died, then no one else would die because of her. That was what she thought back then. But then Naruto suddenly appeared. With his own strength, he dealt with the four powerful ninjas who looked down on the Kingdom of Ghosts guards as if they were nothing. His strengths, his heart ninja. But she saw that person's death. From birth until now, all the death illusions she saw, unless the person left her side, they would die for various reasons. She believed that this time would be no exception. Therefore, after Naruto left, after she calmed down, Aster decided to let Naruto leave her. The farther, the better. She can't implicate others anymore. Ding, 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 ding. The bell stuck in front of his chest suddenly rang. It was another illusion of death. Aster's eyes widened. She saw an endless number of stone men marching in an unknown direction. She saw the stone man spear piercing Aster's body. Aster is going to die. The illusion of death disappeared, leaving Aster standing there in a daze. Aster-sama, the casualties have been counted. Aster came back to her senses. How long has she been standing here? Aster didn't know. She only felt that her legs were a little numb. She was just thinking about her childhood. At that time, Aster was very young, and they grew up together. Aster was her servant, and also her playmate. At that time, her mother hadn't left yet, and it was the happiest time of her life. You're so annoying. How many times have I told you, you don't need to inform me about this? Aster's expression was cold, but Aster didn't care. In the temple, who didn't know Aster's temperament? Has that person left? Aster asked. Aster replied. Not yet. Aster lost her temper. Didn't I tell you to drive him away? How did you do it? Can't you do this well? Aster's mouth twitched. Did you tell me to drive him away? Didn't you say you'll talk to him at night? Aster complained in her heart, but she didn't talk back. Aster wanted to use this as an excuse to make a fuss, but Aster couldn't do anything since Aster didn't answer. Where is he? Take me there. Aster was embarrassed. Aster-sama. If you really drive him away, then you're safety. Aster seized the opportunity, angrily rebuking. You dare to refute me? You're just a retainer. Who gave you the guts? Aster's acting wasn't bad. However, she underestimated Aster's understanding of her. Therefore, her acting was a bit over the top. Aster felt today's Aster was a bit strange. Was she frightened by the intruder? Aster scolded while Aster was thinking. I asked you a question. How dare you not answer? Forget it, you should pack up and leave. Don't appear in front of me again. I'm annoyed when I see you. You want me to leave? Aster finally felt a trace of familiarity with this drama. Something similar happened in the past. The servant who was doing his job was scolded by Aster. Aster directly drove him away. He knew the reason. Aster had seen that person's death illusion. Aster, did you see something? The room suddenly became quiet. Aster opened her mouth. I'm scolding you. You're just a servant. Yet you dare to question me? Do you know your own identity? Aster continued to resist. However, Aster's face was paler than before. It was sickly white, frighteningly white. Aster-sama, just tell me, did you see my death? Silence. This time, Aster's mouth trembled. However, when she saw the fear in Aster's eyes, she directly said, Yes, if you continue to stay by my side, you will die. Therefore, for your own good, and also for my own good, you should leave. Zhu Sui took a deep breath. Aster calmed down. After a short period of panic, Aster calmed down again. Actually, I knew this day would come, so I really didn't want to be your guard. Aster replied. That's good. You can leave now. Aster continued. At that time, I was in a constant state of anxiety, afraid that day would come. Aster nodded, showing that she understood. Aster suddenly smiled. But now, I'm not so afraid. I'm ready to die for you. Aster's expression froze. Instead of being happy, she was really angry. You're all like this. I told you to leave, but you didn't. Good. Then wait for death by my side. Chapter 569. After reading the life experience of the 4 people with Genjutsu, Naruto also knew more about the 4 people, and the person called Yomi behind them. Simply put, the person named Yomi once used the power of the demon Morio to create a group of stone soldiers to unify the world. However, before the war started, the demon was sealed by Miko. Now that he's making a comeback, he naturally wants to do the same thing. Actually, I think we should change our position. Preserved Egg's shadow was projected in front of Naruto. Naruto felt strange. What position? Preserved Egg replied. The position of the guy called Morio. Obviously, the guy called Morio should be the same as Otsutsuki Kagaya, an outsider. His purpose of coming to this world. I think it should be similar to ours. Is this the truth of the matter? Preserved Egg continued. Kagaya Otsutsuki was sealed by her own son. It sounds ironic. That son is her son, but I don't know what's inside. Naruto probed. The will of the world? Preserved Egg asked back. What else can it be? Then he sighed. Whether it's Otsutsuki Kagaya or Morio, these are all outsiders who were targeted by the will of the world before their wings were fully developed. They are all bloody lessons. You have to be more careful. After hearing this sentence, Naruto suddenly felt a chill on his neck. Then what do you mean by standing in Morio's position? Help Yomi release Morio? Preserved Egg shook his head. I just want you to stand in his position and see the bloody lesson. To put it simply, It's better if we don't participate in this matter. Naruto asked, hey? Didn't you say you wanted to see Miko? Preserved Egg didn't deny and replied, yes, but now that I've seen it, it's time to go. At the same time, the news of the Land of Lightning rejecting the commission came back. After hearing the news, Aster was as calm as ever, but Asu's face was pale. Aster-san Kumogakure rejected it. Ziwan nodded and softly replied, N. Zusui said, the only person we can rely on now is that person. You still want to chase him away? Aster didn't hesitate. Yeah. Zusui opened her mouth and then closed it again. Alright, I got it. Then let me talk to that lord. Aster was a little surprised. She lifted her head to look at Zusui, her eyes full of suspicion. Zusui bowed and said, after all, he's someone I recruited. Aster continued to look at her foot and spat out 2 words, no need. As he spoke, he got up and walked towards Naruto's residence. It wasn't a long journey. With light steps, she arrived in 2 minutes. Dong. Dong. Boom. There was a light knock on the door. Aster was in front, and Zusui followed closely behind. Naruto's perception barrier clearly saw who it was. Therefore, he didn't ask who it was and directly said, come in. It's reasonable to say that Naruto should take the initiative to open the door. After all, Naruto was just a mercenary. But neither Aster nor Naruto cared about this. Even Zusui didn't. After meeting, Aster asked, what did the 4 ninjas do? Naruto didn't hide it. He immediately said that Yomi had unlocked part of the seal. Yomi has unlocked the seal that sealed Morio's soul. Now he should go to the place where the body is sealed. The Stone Army has also awakened. Now they should be heading to the Land of Demons. Ordinary people don't know what these 2 sentences mean, but as a Miko of the Land of Demons, she naturally knows some details of the seal. Has the Stone Army already headed to the Land of Demons? Aster thought of the death illusion that Zusui was pierced by the Stone Army. It seems that if Zusui doesn't leave her, it won't be far from coming true. Oh, that's it. Thank you for the information. Your mission has been completed. There's nothing else for you to do now. You can take your reward and leave. With that, Aster gestured to Zusui behind her. Although Zusui didn't want to, she still took out the banknotes and handed it to Naruto. Thank you again for saving my life. Aster slightly bowed, then turned around and left. Looking at Aster leaving, Naruto couldn't help but complain to Preserved Egg. The reason why this girl chased me away again and again is because she doesn't want to see the death illusion come true. Such a cute girl doesn't look like a bad person. Preserved Egg sarcastically said. Yes, no one said that she is a bad person. She is a good person. You are the bad person. Naruto. Preserved Egg saw Naruto was deflated. He opened his mouth again. In this world, there are many things that can't be measured by right or wrong. If you don't understand, you can see it as a different standpoint. Naruto rolled his eyes and said contemptuously, do you think I don't understand such a simple principle? Preserved Egg heaved a sigh of relief and wagged its tail. Does that mean we can pack up and leave now? At this moment, after Aster left, Zusui suddenly returned. She directly knelt in front of Naruto. Kneeling was a big ceremony no matter where it was. Naruto was not polite at all. He sat there motionlessly. Master Zusui, why are you kneeling now? Zusui's head directly hit the ground. I don't deserve to be called Master. Master, please continue to protect Miss Aster. As long as Master can continue to protect Miss Aster, Zusui is willing to pay any price. She was really a loyal master and servant. Naruto replied. Stand up and talk. Even if the commander of the Shrine of the Country of Ghosts saw the great name of the Country of Ghosts, he shouldn't need to be so polite, right? Zusui continued to kneel. Miss Aster will soon go to the place where the demon's body is sealed. Zusui sincerely asks Master to continue to protect Miss Aster. Naruto asked. Your miss has already asked me to leave. It's not good for me to follow her, right? Zusui quickly said. You can protect her secretly. You only need to act when Miss Aster's life is in danger. Naruto looked at Zusui with a smile. I heard that the Witch of the Country of Ghosts' death prediction is very accurate. Zhu Sui hesitated, but in the end she still told the truth. Until now it has never been wrong. Speaking of this, Zhu Sui's face became a bit gloomy. Naruto said to Preserved Egg in his mind, he's also a good person. It's really rare that he doesn't lie. Preserved Egg was speechless. Do you really want to prove that you're a bad person? Naruto shamelessly praised himself. I'm a good person that's hard to come by in 10,000 years. Preserved Egg subconsciously ridiculed. Good people never say that they're good, just like bad people don't say that they're bad. Naruto. Inside the room. Naruto looked at Zhu Sui, who was still kneeling on the ground. He said, since you know that I'm going to die, how much do you think my life is worth? Zhu Sui raised her head and said affirmatively. As long as Zhu Sui can do it, I'm willing to pay any price. Hinata happened to pass by outside Naruto's room. She didn't mean to, but she heard the conversation in the room clearly. She couldn't say that she was passing by. It should be said that Hinata originally planned to look for Naruto. Just now, Hinata looked for the waiter who sold the information to Naruto and asked about the death prediction. From the waiter's mouth, Hinata heard a lot of shocking supernatural events. This time, she came back to persuade Naruto to leave the country of ghosts. Chapter 570. The Thing I Want. Naruto's pause made Zhu Sui's heart skip a beat. But at the same time, a trace of hope rose in his heart. In Zhu Sui's opinion, with the request, there was hope. But in the next moment, Naruto shook his head with a bitter smile. You can't afford it. Was he rejected? Zhu Sui's face turned ashen. She didn't expect Naruto to take another turn. However, Aide-sama, San is a kind and rare good girl, so I won't just stand by and watch. Zhu Sui was truly grateful to his parents for giving him a good heart when he was born. Otherwise, he would have been tormented to death today. You mean, you're willing to continue protecting Miss Aster? Naruto nodded with a smile. Zhu Sui was overjoyed and hurriedly kowtowed. Just as his head was about to hit the ground, a delicate shout exploded in his ears. I don't agree. Hinata, who was at the door, couldn't help but rush in. Zhu Sui's mood could be said to be like a dog. Just as he was about to succeed after begging his grandfather and grandmother for help, there was a sudden twist in the situation. If not for his good self-restraint, being born in the temple and growing up with the shaman, he would have already cursed. Zhu Sui turned his head to look at the door. Naruto also looked over. Hinata rushed in. It was rare to see Hinata so agitated. Worried about me? Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Hinata had prepared a lot of things to say on the way back, but she didn't know what to say. Naruto looked at Zhu Sui, who was still kneeling on the ground. Commander, I've already agreed to your request. You can leave now. Agreed. Zhu Sui thanked him again, and hurriedly got up to leave. If he stayed any longer, he was afraid that he would be tortured to death before the death prophecy came true. After Zhu Sui left, there were no outsiders in the room. Naruto walked to Hinata's side and pinched Hinata's face. What's wrong? It's not like you to frown. Hinata lowered her head and pinched the corner of her clothes. Naruto-kun, leave the land of demons. Hinata went to ask a lot of people just now, and the person who just left said that the death prophecy was real. So, within Naruto's body, the Nine Tails sealed space. Preserved Egg also tried to persuade him. What's wrong with you today? You've had enough of being a bad guy and want to be a good guy for once? Naruto rolled his eyes at Preserved Egg. I am a good person. If you want to be a bad person, you can be the bad guy yourself. Preserved Egg's snow-white fox head had a solemn expression. He confirmed again. Have you decided? Naruto replied. I've decided. Piggy was so angry that he opened his mouth and bit his own tail. Then he spoke again. You should know that what's scary isn't the bell that's tainted by karma, nor is it the prophecy of death. Instead, it's having the will of this world discover your identity. Naruto said nonchalantly. So what if it's discovered? After the 3 tails is captured, it's not difficult to revive the 10 tails. Didn't you say that after analyzing the 10 tails chakra, the will of this world is nothing to be afraid of? Preserved Egg looked up at the sky and thought about it. It was indeed so. All right then, Actually, if you succeed in this matter, it's not like there are no benefits. Preserved Egg stopped persuading Naruto. Instead, he began to think about the benefits. He was indeed a fox raised by Naruto. Naruto was puzzled. Benefits? What benefits? I've never heard of any benefits from you before. Preserved Egg said matter-of-factly. Of course, I couldn't tell you before. If I told you, you would only see the benefits. Naruto's curiosity was piqued. He urged, don't talk nonsense. Tell me what the benefits are. Preserved Egg explained. The benefit is that you will be blessed by the world. Seeing that Naruto didn't understand, Preserved Egg continued to explain. Simply put, it will increase your luck. From now on, the heavens will protect you. If you have no money, you don't need to earn it. You can pick up money by lowering your head. If you gamble, you won't need to bring out the small ones. There was such a good thing? Naruto's eyes lit up. Preserved Egg didn't forget to pour cold water on him. The premise is that you won't be discovered. If you are discovered, you will choke to death by drinking cold water. Do you believe that you will never need to bring seasoning when eating instant noodles? Naruto, don't worry. In order to not eat instant noodles without seasoning, I will work hard. Naruto's face was solemn. Preserved Egg's face was filled with curses. Preserved Egg. If there was still hope to persuade Naruto before, there was no hope now. Was it wrong or right to do this? Well, Preserved Egg comforted himself by saying that many things in this world couldn't be measured by right or wrong. As for Hinata, it would be troublesome to deal with her. The periphery of the land of demons. Hinata Ninji, hidden in the dense forest, stared closely at Hinata with Byakugan. Another ninja from Kimogakure was found. Sasai took a pen and recorded a few words on the scroll. What are the characteristics of his ability? Hinata Ninji replied, I haven't found it yet. There is chakra in his body, and he is in contact with number 1. Number 1 was the code name given to Naruto by Hinata Ninji and Sasai. Sasai nodded and put away the scroll, then continued to observe. Hinata Ninji removed the Byakugan and began to rest. 10 minutes later, he opened his eyes again. 4 invading ninjas are dead. Miko-sama and her entourage entered a secret passage leading to a waterfall. It seems that they want to secretly leave the land of demons. Number 1 disappeared. There are 2 female ninjas and a guard of the lookout. Sasai's pen quickly recorded on the scroll. After writing, he whistled. A messenger eagle landed on Sasai's wrist. When Sasai put the heart into the bucket behind the messenger eagle spread its wings and flew out in the direction of Woodleaf. The messenger eagle flew away, and the 2 disappeared in place. However, neither of them noticed that a brown dragonhawk with a pair of Sharingan had caught up with the messenger eagle above them. Then the messenger eagle changed direction and went into the dense forest. Finally, it landed in front of a person. Number 1? Who is it? A Kimogakure ninja with Byakugan eyes? Why didn't I see it? Appearance description. Isn't this me? But I didn't see Byakugan eyes. But this misunderstanding can be solved. A pig with a necklace. This isn't Dolphin, is it? Well, it seems that Woodleaf found out about Shizuku. When the identity is verified, it seems impossible to live an ordinary life. So what to do? It's useless to keep the information scroll for this kind of thing. When Hinata Ninji and Sasai return, they will report another mission. He can't hide it. If he wants to hide it completely, he has to deal with Hinata Ninji and Sasai now. But not to mention anything else, Hinata Ninji is his brother-in-law. Well, his future brother-in-law. Of course, he can also catch them and bring them to the snow country. Then what? Let them raise masters in the snow country? There are enough masters in the snow country now. Naruto has no plans to catch them and bring them to the snow country. These 2 are not Pokemon, and he's not Pocket Master. There's no need to collect every strange Zenogeniac. Let's see Shizuku first and let her decide for herself. Compared to bringing his brother-in-law to the snow country, Naruto feels that bringing Shizuku to the snow country is more fun. There's also Shizuku's pig-riding son. Chapter 571. There was one more piece of information that Hinata Ninji didn't say. When he was reading the lips, he seemed to see the words Naruto and Hinata. Which Hinata is Hinata? Hinata? What about Naruto? Vortex Naruto? If that girl is Hinata, that explained why number 1 used the gentle fist. The only doubt left was the supercilious eye. In Hinata Ninji's opinion, if you want to use the gentle fist, you must have eyes that can see through the human body. This is the prerequisite for using the gentle fist. So where did number 1 get the Byakugan? Kimogikure? If that's the case, then it's a big deal. Therefore, Hinata Ninji didn't dare to say this information without conclusive evidence. Just when Hinata Ninji was thinking about number 1's identity, Naruto came to Shizen's house with the flying thunder god jutsu. Shizen Wani-san, have you made a decision? Naruto's sudden appearance startled Shizen. Why did you suddenly appear in the house? Shizen was sewing clothes for her angry son at this time. Naruto turned sideways to let Shizen see the mark on the wall. It was a small word, fate. Shizen couldn't believe it. Isn't this the flying thunder god jutsu? You learned the flying thunder god jutsu? Naruto nodded. Shizen took a deep breath and sighed. As expected of the son of Yandame Naruto-sama. But I don't see the Yin seal mark on your forehead. Did you give up learning Tsunade-sama's ninjutsu? Tsunade-sama didn't slap you. Not to mention that Naruto hasn't condensed the seal of the Yin seal until now. Suna really has a lot of opinions. Naruto helplessly curled his lips. You can't blame me. I've been condensing chakra for the past few years, but the Yin seal hasn't come out. I can't help it. Speaking of this matter, it was also strange. According to Naruto's expectations, the one thing he didn't lack the least was chakra. However, the funny thing was that the Yin seal that he condensed was like a bottomless pit. It kept swallowing chakra, but it was still not complete. Sister Jingyin, let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you. Have you made your decision? Jingyin put down the needlework in her hands. Me. As you can see, I'm just an ordinary housewife now. I usually sew clothes, cook, and take care of the children. So, it's the same no matter where I am. Naruto nodded in understanding and agreed. Sister Jingyin's life is actually pretty good. To tell you the truth, there was a time in the past when I really wanted to live like this. I and Sister Tsunade also respect your choice. However, Naruto took out the enlarged version of Woodleaf's information scroll. This is the enlarged version of Woodleaf's information scroll. Take a look. After looking at the scroll, Jingyin's expression changed slightly. What's recorded on it is true. Naruto shook his head and said, the information on it was indeed sent back to the village by Woodleaf, but a lot of the information is false. For example, they said that I'm a ninja of Kimogikure, and that I have the Byakugan. Seeing that Jingyin didn't believe it, Naruto took off the blindfold, revealing the Sharingan inside. You see, this is a Sharingan, not a Byakugan. Jingyin lowered her head as soon as she saw the 3 Tomo Sharingan. You don't have to show it to me. Naruto smiled and said, it's okay. I didn't intend to lie to Sister Jingyin. I didn't say a lot of things before, mainly because I didn't want to bring trouble to Sister Jingyin. Jingyin asked, so, where do you belong now? Not Kimogikure? At this point, there was nothing to hide. Naruto replied, no, it's the snow country. Jingyin's hand held the scroll tightly. Let me think about it again. Naruto nodded in understanding. At this time, there was a voice outside the house. Mommy! Mama! The cry of Mama! Soon, a small child the size of a bean ran into the room. Naruto looked at the child who came in. The baby was fair and chubby, with delicate features and round eyes. He was very cute. Beside the child was a half-grown pig wearing clothes and a necklace. Jingyin waved to the child. Come here, Mikyu. Jingyin hesitated. Naruto nodded and said, it's okay, my name is not afraid of being exposed. But Jingyin didn't say the name again. Come and meet brother. The baby was very obedient and called out in a childish voice, Big brother. Naruto was happy to be called. He reached into his pocket and took out some candy and a pendant. After the child got the candy, he happily sent it to Jingyin. Seeing her son so obedient, Jingyin also smiled. Thank you, brother. Then the baby said in a childish voice, Thank you, big brother. Naruto raised his hand and touched the child's head, and put the necklace on the child. Jingin saw the jade pendant and opened her mouth to refuse, but the other party was Tsunade's disciple, and according to the relationship, they were not far from each other. So she didn't refuse again. On the side, Dolphin was humming and asking for candy from Jingin. Naruto patted Dolphin's head. Sure enough, you're a pig, you only know how to eat. As a ninja beast, Dolphin's head can't be patted by anyone. At the moment, a pair of small pig eyes stared at Naruto. Naruto smiled and said, Why, you don't recognize me? It stands to reason that a pig's nose should have a good sense of smell, right? Naruto teased Dolphin. In fact, Naruto's aura changed after swallowing Ninetail's chakra, and after fusing with Shodai's cells, it was even more different. To say that he has a pig's nose, even a dog's nose is not enough. Naruto suddenly took out a candy with a smirk and waved it in front of Dolphin's eyes. Dolphin's expression instantly changed. What did he smell? The smell of fart candy. Damn it! Why does this still exist? Then this person, Dolphin, took a few steps back in fright. You remember? Naruto put away the candy again. Dolphin hid behind Jingin with a whoosh. Naruto praised. That's a good reaction. Then he ignored Dolphin and teased the child. For the first time, Naruto found that children were actually quite fun. White, fat, and chubby. And so obedient. How about giving birth to one? Hinata is already 16 years old. Naruto showed a thoughtful expression. Spiritual network. Naruto found Hinata. Is everything going well? Hinata replied. There is no danger so far. Then Hinata asked Naruto. What about Shizune-san? She was asking about Shizune's choice. Naruto told her about his encounter with Woodleaf Ninja. Don't use Byakugan or Gentle Fist. Let Woodleaf continue to treat us as Kimogakure Ninja. Hinata hesitated. I seem to have called you Naruto before. I also call myself Hinata. Naruto replied. It doesn't matter. Woodleaf's information scroll hasn't recorded it yet. Although that's what he said, there are still loopholes. For example, Naruto's appearance. Others can't think of Naruto, but Kakashi is different. Kakashi has seen his current appearance. Long red hair, left eye patch. For this, Naruto decided to change his appearance more in the future and give Kakashi a fake. Chapter 572. That night, Shizune's husband returned home. Shizune's husband was the kind of honest person that could be seen with his eyes. He had an ordinary appearance, a tall figure, and gave off the feeling of a big, silly man. Naruto simply greeted him and took the child to play. Shizune was left alone to discuss moving with her husband. Spiritual network. Naruto shared the image of Shizune's child with the public chat. Tsunade-san, this is Shizune's child, isn't he cute? Tsunade praised. So cute, the little guy's skin is so white. Does he not go out often? Naruto then told her about the first time he saw the little guy. Tsunade also laughed when she heard about the pig riding incident. Tsunade-san, wait a moment, I'll share that scene as well. Then Naruto copied the scene from his memory and shared it with the public chat. It affected the playback. The door of Shizune's home was suddenly burst open from the inside. A fierce domestic pig rushed out with a white and clean little boy on its back. The little boy was tightly hugging a piglet with a necklace in his arms to prevent himself from falling. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. The little boy shouted in a panic with his childish voice. And then Naruto and Hinata turned around. They saw smoke rising, and the little guy flew away in front of their eyes. Everyone in the public chat was amused by this scene. Tsunade sighed. The little guy is only 4.5 years old, right? How can a 4.5-year-old be so sturdy? Tsunade could also see that the main reason the little boy was able to ride the pig without getting injured was because of Dolphin's protection. But even so, it was enough to exclaim, Naruto, when are you going to have a child? Such a magical turn of events caused the public chat to fall silent. Naruto wasn't shy and replied, that depends on Hinata. Everyone cheered him on. Hinata couldn't resist everyone's enthusiasm, and left the public chat to be embarrassed by herself. At this time, Shizen walked out of her room. Naruto left the public chat. He asked Mute, "Have you decided?" Mute looked very relaxed now. He nodded with a smile. Some civilians don't agree with the identity of a ninja. Take Bai's parents for example. Fortunately, that didn't happen to Mute. He knew about it a long time ago. He just pretended not to know. It's been hard on him. When the little guy saw his mother come out, he ran over and called out in a childish voice, "Mommy." "Then when it's convenient, I'll take you away." Naruto looked at Mute. Shizen looked around. His eyes were filled with reluctance. "It doesn't matter to us. He doesn't have anyone left in his family. Our family only has the three of us to rely on. Take us away whenever it's convenient for you." Naruto probed, "So now?" Jingin was shocked. "So urgent?" Naruto could tell that Shizen was reluctant to leave this home. He smiled and said, "It doesn't matter if you wait a day or two. This matter could be considered to have been settled." Naruto immediately told Tsunade about it. On the night of the third day, Naruto arranged for Shizen's family to leave. The teleportation circle was opened. Naruto took Shizen to the snow country. Their residence was arranged with the villagers of Takigakure. Before Naruto left, Shizen's husband found Naruto. "Naruto-sama, that can I talk to you alone?" Shizen's husband was shocked by Naruto's means. Naruto smiled kindly and said, "You don't have to be so polite. Just call me Naruto." Shizen's husband still refused to change. Naruto didn't insist. "Let's talk about it. Naruto-sama, thank you for doing this for our family. I really don't know how to repay you." Unlike Shizen was reluctant to leave her family's farmhouse. But this husband preferred the prosperity of the snow country. Naruto nodded. "It's a small matter. I feel that Fujiwara-san has to leave his hometown." Shizen's husband hurriedly bowed. Naruto waved his hand and said, "Live well, treat Shizen well, and treat the children well." "Well, I don't want to say more. I feel that it's strange for me to say this." Naruto turned his head and said, "Yugao, come here and help them with the household registration." Coincidentally, when Naruto came back this time, he happened to see Yugao idle again. Maybe he was used to it. Yugao also liked this kind of task without any nutrition. At the same time, Zu died. It was a strange death, and Hinata led everyone to go around the mountain. At the foot of the mountain was the stone army marching to the country of demons. Zu was originally climbing the mountain, but suddenly fell down the mountain, and was directly stabbed to death by the stone people below. This scene was the same as the death illusion that Aster saw. Spiritual network. "Hinata, open the barrier. I will directly teleport to your side." Hinata replied, "Naruto-kun, let's not. It's fine if it's just me here." Hearing Hinata's tone, Naruto felt that something had happened. He directly asked, "Did someone die?" Hinata hesitated for a moment and said it. "I heard Miss Aster scolding Zu a few days ago. She said that if he continued to stay by her side, he would die sooner or later. Just now Zu Sui died. I asked Miss Aster. She said that she saw Zu Sui's death illusion before." Naruto-kun. Naruto was not surprised by Zu Sui's death, because according to the development of the original world, Zu Sui would also die. "Where are you?" Hinata replied, "We've arrived, but the entrance is surrounded by stone people. It's not easy to go in. Also, Aster's mood seems to be unstable. She doesn't want me to bring her in." Naruto comforted Hinata, then opened the barrier. "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Didn't I tell you my plan? It's very safe." Seeing that Hinata ignored him, Naruto directly said, "If you ignore me, I'll go directly. At that time, more things will be exposed, which will be disadvantageous to me." In the end, Hinata opened the barrier. Naruto used Hinata as the spatial coordinate and teleported to Hinata's side. He lovingly pinched Hinata's face. Then his body merged into the ground. He approached Aster from a distance using Earth Meld, creating the illusion that he used Earth Meld to catch up. "You don't look very happy." Naruto appeared beside Aster. Aster was slightly surprised. At this time, Naruto's appearance had been slightly adjusted. Whether it was the color of his hair, the length of his hair, or the shape of his face, they had all changed. However, the moment Aster saw Naruto's eyes, she recognized them. To be more precise, she recognized that Naruto's left eye was wearing an eye patch. Her mood became agitated because of this. "You didn't leave?" Naruto said with a smile. "I left for a while to do some things, then came back." Then, without waiting for Aster to speak, Naruto continued, "The destination is in front, right? I'll take you in and then leave." Aster hesitated for a while, and then sighed. "Whatever. I just saw their death illusions. Since you're here, let them leave." Chapter 573. Hinata's Illusion of Death. Naruto dared to bet his own life, but Hinata's spiritual network. Naruto contacted Hinata and said, "Hinata, Wood Leaf Ninja is nearby. I have a very important task for you." If he wants to send Hinata away, he must do so. Hinata was worried about Naruto at this time, and hearing Naruto's words, she asked with uncertainty, "What task?" Naruto explained, "I want you to interfere with Hinata Ninji. You can't let his Byakugan stare at me all the time." Hinata didn't want to agree. If Naruto insisted on entering the cave, she wanted to follow by Naruto's side. The scene of Zusui dying behind her was too strange. It was obviously not a very steep cliff. Any ordinary person would not fall down. Moreover, Zusui was the guard commander of the Witch of the Land of Ghosts. She still had basic skills, but she still died. Naruto continued, "There's one more thing. Hinata Ninji has seen your appearance. Although Hinata Ninji didn't recognize you for a while, it's inevitable that he will think in this direction in the future. Didn't you say that you called my name, and also called yourself Hinata? So, in order to get rid of this hidden danger, you have to deal with Hinata Ninji. Wear a mask, don't use the Byakugan, and don't use taijutsu, and fight with the opponent with ninjutsu. This way, Hinata Ninji won't associate you with Hinata. Hinata said with uncertainty, "Naruto-kun." "Then you," Naruto comforted her. "You still don't know my ability, not to mention other things. If I say that my ability to escape is second in this world, no one would dare to say that they are first." Naruto continued to change the topic. "When you go to fight Hinata Ninji in a while, it's best to make him run away, and then chase after him all the way. You must not give him time to breathe. Also, in order to avoid exposing your identity, you can't say a word to him. And you have to wear a mask. Remember?" Hinata obediently replied, "Yes, I will." Naruto was very satisfied. "Then go beat up Hinata Ninji." Naruto stood beside Hinata, pointed in the direction where Hinata Ninji was hiding and said, "Northwest 1 kilometer away." This scene also fell into Niji's eyes. After reading the famous person's lips, he exclaimed, "Shift! The opponent has discovered us. This guy really has Byakugan." As soon as Hinata Ninji moved, Naruto hurriedly shouted, "Go, the opponent is running away." Hinata couldn't care about anything else, and hurriedly followed Naruto's words and chased after him. Spiritual network. "Naruto-kun, you must come back alive. If you die, I will come and find you." As soon as the words ended, 2 curse seals appeared on Hinata's legs, and with the blessing of the curse seals, Hinata's speed suddenly increased. Looking at this scene, Naruto finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Brother-in-law, I'm sorry this time, for your sister's safety. It's not a loss for you to take a beating." Naruto mourned for Hinata Ninji for a second. Naruto didn't doubt the difference in strength between Hinata and Hinata Ninji. Although he didn't know why the first-generation cell didn't let Hinata open the Tensigen, it was absolutely comprehensive for Hinata's improvement. Moreover, Hinata can also use the curse seal power that Naruto is very envious of. As for combat experience, Hinata has been practicing with Naruto every day for 3 years. With Naruto, the omnipotent ninja, Hinata's combat experience is really abundant. After Hinata went to beat Hinata Ninji, Naruto said to the other girl, "You wait here obediently. I will take Lady Aster to the sealed place." The girl, the female ninja named Lynx, glanced at Naruto with a blank expression. Then she looked at Aster. The meaning was very clear. "Who do you think you are? My employer is not you." Naruto touched his nose awkwardly. Aster nodded and said, You stay here to support us. Don't get close to the cave. After that, Naruto directly picked up Aster and said, "Sorry, it's faster this way." After saying that, a flying sword flew out of Naruto's body and pierced straight to the cave entrance of the sealed place. At the same time, two more doppelgangers appeared beside Naruto. Flying Thunder God Jutsu. The next moment, Naruto took Aster and disappeared from the top of the mountain. This scene made the female ninja, who didn't care about Naruto, widen her eyes. She looked around in panic, trying to find Naruto and Aster's figure, but she couldn't find them. At the same time, Naruto landed on the flying sword with Aster in his arms. The flying sword carried the two of them in the cave, and the surrounding rock walls passed by quickly in front of their eyes, making them dizzy. Aster hugged Naruto tightly in panic. Rushing into the cave, their eyes suddenly brightened. Red light rose from the ground. "You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." A gust of hot air blew on their faces, making them feel hot and painful. Naruto looked at the ground in front of him. Under the rock pillar, there was bubbling magma. At the end of the magma, there was a long-haired man sitting on the ground with his hand on his cheek. That man was Yomi. Naruto had seen him in the memories of the four ninjas. "Since you're here, why are you still standing there? Come and seal me." The muffled sound of rocks hitting each other echoed. Several stone men walked towards Naruto and Aster step by step. Aster came back to her senses and said, "Put me down and go." Naruto put down Aster as he said. However, he didn't leave. Instead, he discussed with Preserved Egg. Should I tell Aster that the bell on her body was sealed by her mother? The bell on Aster's body was a seal. It absorbed the life of the people around her to seal Aster's power. The reason why Aster could see the illusion of death, and the reason why the people around her died was related to this bell. Because Aster's power was too strong, the previous generations which was worried that Aster would become the next Yomi and bring disaster to the world. This wasn't information that Naruto had gathered. It was because he had seen the movie version of the Country of Demons and knew the development of the incident in advance. Preserved Egg replied, "I can't say, things have to go with the flow, otherwise, it will easily attract the attention of the world's will. You have to be careful, other places don't matter, but this place is under the eyes of the world's will." Naruto helplessly replied, "All right." Naruto's flying sword swept past several stone men that were walking towards them. The stone men were smashed into pieces and scattered on the ground. Aster was very nervous, but after seeing the stone men were destroyed, she sighed in relief and pushed Naruto. "You go, I'll do it myself." At this time, Yomi also noticed Naruto. "It seems that some unnecessary ants have come in. But since you're here, don't leave." A thick tentacle suddenly stretched out from the magma and stabbed towards Naruto. The moment she saw the tentacle, Aster's eyes widened. She had seen this tentacle before, in the illusion of death. She had seen Naruto die under this tentacle. His chest was pierced and he died. The tip of the tentacle was very thin and sharp, and it stabbed towards Naruto. The sword of Kusanagi appeared in Naruto's hand, and he slashed with it. The sword energy turned into energy, and the violent and compressed chakra current slashed through the tentacle, cutting off a long section of the tentacle's front end. Naruto didn't care, "It's nothing." The magma tumbled, and something seemed to be struggling in pain below. Then dozens of tentacles stretched out from the magma. Chapter 574. Several tentacles attacked Naruto. But the moment they got close to Naruto, the bell on Aster's body lit up with a purple light. All the incoming tentacles were repelled back. Aster's face was filled with disbelief as she watched this scene with wide eyes. Huang Quan smiled and said, "You seem very surprised. Don't you know the power you have? Don't you know I can't attack you? I really don't know what you've been learning these past few years." Compared to Aster's shock, Huang Quan was much calmer, as if he had already expected this. Aster recovered after hearing Huang Quan's words. "I've been learning sealing techniques every day for the past few years." Huang Quan sneered. "Is that so? Why don't you seal me and let me see your cultivation level?" Aster turned to Naruto and said, "You can go. He can't hurt me." Hearing this, The corner of Huang Quan's mouth curled up into a smile from 100 meters away. The demon under the magma attacked again, but this time it didn't attack Naruto, but the tunnel they came from. The mountain collapsed and the tunnel was blocked. Huang Quan smiled insolently and said, "I said you can't leave, so don't think about leaving. Miko maiden, why don't you seal me instead? But only you can pass through the sealing array. If you want to protect him, you will never be able to seal me." Aster clenched her fists, as if she was having a fierce struggle in her heart. She wanted to enter the sealing array to seal the demon. This was her mission as a witch. But if she entered the sealing array, she wouldn't be able to continue protecting Naruto. She had seen too many deaths that she couldn't control. This time, she finally had the ability to protect the people around her. She really didn't want to see anyone die for her. Naruto raised his hand and placed it on Aster's head. Aster's body stiffened and she raised her head to look at Naruto. Naruto had a carefree expression and said with a smile, "Don't forget how I brought you in. This place can't trap me. You should go and do what you need to do." Aster was pleasantly surprised. "You can leave this place?" Naruto smiled. His body suddenly disappeared and reappeared on the flying sword. The visual impact of teleportation from a space ninjutsu is great. Naruto stood on the flying sword and replied, "Don't worry. If I want to leave, I can leave at any time. But I've taken a fancy to something, so I don't want to leave yet." Yellow Spring stared at Naruto and asked, "What is your relationship with Woodleaf's Yellow Flash?" Yellow Flash was the title of the fourth Naruto. Naruto was a little surprised. This was the first time someone had asked him such a question. However, Naruto was not prepared to answer. Instead, he smiled and said, "Take a guess." Yomi's expression turned gloomy, and the monster under the lava became restless. The monster under the magma was part of the monster's body that had been sealed. Because the seal hadn't been completely lifted, they couldn't leave the place where they were sealed. For a time, hundreds of tentacles stretched out from the magma and attacked Naruto at the same time. Preserved Egg in Naruto's body saw this scene and shouted excitedly, "So many claws! Quick! Cut them all down and take them away!" The thing that Naruto wanted was the monster's body. Preserved Egg said that this monster was also a great supplement for him. However, because the world's will was watching here, Preserved Egg couldn't eat it here. So he thought of a compromise and took it away. Hundreds of tentacles attacked Naruto. Naruto stepped on the flying sword and flew to the top of the cave. His purpose was naturally to make these claws as long as possible. Naruto called out the system's warehouse interface, selected the steel balls, and adjusted the number of steel balls by 100. These were all done by Naruto in an instant. Summon. Naruto's left-hand puppet core seal extended 100 puppet lines and connected them to the steel balls. Naruto's hand seals steel release. Flying sword doppelganger technique. 100 special steel balls the size of a fist then transformed into flying swords. And on the hilt of these swords, there was the word life. This was the Flying Thunder God technique that Naruto used the puppet lines to cast a long-distance spell on the swords. Flying Thunder God technique. Teleport. In the next moment, 100 flying swords were teleported to the bottom of the cave by Naruto. There was a flying sword that was flying at a low altitude. Slash. The flying sword flashed, and the sword shadows crisscrossed. More than 100 tentacles stretched out towards Naruto, and the flying sword formation below cut across the ground. It was like a sickle that was stuck to the root of a leek and sliced it. The 100 tentacles were all cut off. Naruto's hand seals. The flying sword changed from a sword form to a human form, and its hands transformed and extended like ropes. It hugged the tentacles and flew towards Naruto. Soon, the hundreds of tentacles were collected by Naruto. The change was too fast. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Huang Quan was sitting on the side, waiting to watch the show. His expression didn't change, but it was already over. Rich. Rich. Preserved Egg's eyes were glowing as he muttered to himself. At the same time, he urged Naruto. Quick, another wave. That guy should still have a lot of tentacles. The demon's soul was still inside Huang Quan's body, but the pain caused the demon to struggle violently. Several rock pillars in the cave collapsed as a result. Naruto glanced at Aster. The purple light emitted by the bell on Aster's body protected her very well, so there was no need to worry. Naruto taunted Huang Quan. Your ability is nothing special. Do you dare to show me something powerful? Huang Quan's voice changed. His eyes were bloodshot as he roared. You dare to cut this sovereign's body? I'm going to kill you. I must kill you. This person wasn't Huang Quan, but the demon inside Huang Quan's body. Magma surged as dozens of tentacles reached out. However, the tentacles that reached out this time were different from the previous ones. This time, to be precise, they weren't tentacles, each of them had a head. They looked like snake heads. Naruto slashed with his sword. Ding. Ordinary flying swords couldn't cut through. Preserved Egg didn't feel threatened. His face became even happier. Great nourishment. This is even more nourishing. Quickly chop them down. The snake heads attacked. Naruto used the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport and evade the attack. Although ordinary flying sword can't cause damage to this snake-headed thing, the Flying Thunder God jutsu can allow Naruto to teleport to any place in the cave. Whether it was dodging or attacking, he could advance and retreat freely. This time, Naruto held his sword of Kusanagi and slashed with all his strength. Chakra burst. Swift escape. Extreme speed. Mist escape. Lightning cloak protection. At this moment, Naruto looked like a ray of light. His sword was incomparably gorgeous. Creak. The scales on the snake heads shattered under Naruto's attack, and the sword pierced through the flesh. It was chopped down. Naruto kept the snake heads in Preserved Egg's space. A painful wail came from the mouths of the other snake heads. Preserved Egg urged Naruto. Quick! Quick! Don't stop! Speed up and continue! He increased his speed and used the mist escape to protect himself. Naruto slashed with his sword again. His momentum was boundless, like a rainbow piercing through the sun. This time, Naruto calculated the angle, and could chop down several snakes at once. Chop. Huang Quan was furious and roared. Enough! Naruto didn't listen, sweeping from one end of the cave to the other. Then he turned back. One harvest, one recovery. Aster couldn't help but be mesmerized by his smooth movements. It was obviously a very bloody scene. Blood mist rose in the space, and the smell of burnt meat echoed in the surroundings. But Aster still felt that it was very handsome and beautiful. It seemed that there was no need for her to seal. This person in front of her could easily kill the demons. However, the demons didn't give Naruto a chance to retract their bodies after Naruto's harvest. Miko, what are you waiting for? Why aren't you sealing me? Aster was speechless. Chapter 575. Hey, don't tell me that's all you've got? Come again? Didn't you say that you were going to kill me? You have to keep your word. How about this? I'll let you use one hand and you can try again. Who knows, you might succeed. Naruto began to verbally attack Yomi with a serious face. Yomi's face became darker and darker, and the veins on his forehead bulged. Even so, he did not attack Naruto. Instead, he urged the Miko. What are you waiting for? Didn't you come here to seal me? The Miko looked at Naruto. Inside Naruto's body, Preserved Egg suggested, try threatening his body. Naruto approached Acheron, but he was blocked by a layer of barrier. The barrier seemed to have appeared suddenly, and the system did not announce it. Yomi's face darkened as he looked at Naruto, who was just inches away from him. You can't enter this place. The talisman lines on Naruto's hand twisted and extended from his fingers to the barrier. Naruto wanted to break the barrier, but he found that he could not connect to it at all. This was the first time that Naruto had seen such a barrier. Preserved Egg, what's the matter with this barrier? Preserved Egg looked at the barrier with a disappointed expression. The barrier is located in a different space-time from us. What? Naruto asked suspiciously. How did it block me when we're not in the same space-time? Preserved Egg. It's a special rule. You won't understand it even if I explain it to you. Simply put, you can also swallow this world. Naruto asked, then can you eat this barrier? Preserved Egg was so disappointed that he laid down and rested his head on his long fox tail. Yes, but I can't eat it. So there's no other way? Naruto awkwardly took a step back. He scratched his head and turned to Z1. Go and seal him. Z1 nodded obediently and walked toward Yomi. Naruto didn't stay in the same place. The flying thunder god technique disappeared and he returned to the entrance, sitting on the pile of rubble. When Aster entered the barrier blocking Naruto, a ripple appeared in the air. The ripples are very weak. If it wasn't for the Sharingan, most people wouldn't be able to detect it. Aster glanced at Huang Quan warily, but Huang Quan continued to sit on the same spot. There was a creepy smile in his eyes. Then let me tell you. I can't kill you, but you don't have the power to make me disappear. If you want to know why, it's because we originally had the same physical body. Aster was startled. She shouted, Are you kidding? Are you trying to confuse me with such lies? Huang Quan, or more accurately Wang Liang. His voice was low and hoarse, and his face was black. Do I need to lie to you? Aster's hair stood on end from that gaze. She quickly turned around and walked towards the ceiling array behind Yellow Spring. Right now, I'll immediately. Before Z1 could finish speaking, Huang Quan interrupted her. The so-called seal is to combine you and me into one. Aster quickened her pace, brushed past Huang Quan, and walked into the array behind Huang Quan. Ripples appeared in the air again. Huang Quan's eyes turned, followed Aster, and continued. Your mother Maitreya is like this. Hearing him mention her mother, Aster couldn't help but look over. Why didn't she dare to look at Huang Quan's eyes? Because she had a feeling in her heart, the other party didn't seem to be lying. This was the witch's intuition, but Aster didn't want to believe it at this time. Huang Quan continued, So your mother Maitreya is now inside my body. The power of a witch. Huang Quan was about to continue. But Aster didn't want to listen anymore. She opened her palm and raised it. Release. Array. Release. Aster raised her hand and pointed to the sky. The array was triggered. The 4 stone balls lit up with a purple halo and slowly rose up. Then an invisible force attached to Aster's body, lifting her up and suspending her in the air. Aster continued to cast her spell. Under the command of the runes, the array changed again. Stone platforms rose up one after another. But at this time, Huang Quan's body suddenly rushed into the array. His head was resting on Aster's shoulder. Aster was frightened by Huang Quan's face and the sudden change. She retreated. Huang Quan's body didn't continue to follow her. Instead, he fell to the ground. After Huang Quan's body fell to the ground, the veins on his body bulged, his eyes rolled up, and his muscles couldn't help but twitch. Huang Quan died. But the voice didn't disappear. You're really impatient, witch. If you want to open the barrier, you have to wait for this guy to die first. It's to enter this place. To enter this place? Aster was shocked and turned to look at the core of the seal. It was a stone box that looked like a small house with 2 doors facing upwards. Underneath the door was Wang Liang's body. Originally, this door existed to extract Wang Liang's soul. But today Wang Liang's soul is going to return to his body through this door. Aster ran and used her body to block the door. Huang Quan's body twisted. His stomach was pushed up by an invisible force. A black fog rushed out from inside. Wang Liang's soul rushed out of Huang Quan's body. Together with chakra, it formed a storm of death. Aster's body that was leaning against the stone door was blown away and crashed into the barrier. But Huang Quan's body was blown away. A thick black fog went into the stone door. Wang Liang's voice echoed in Aster's ears. Once the barrier is opened, we won't be able to leave until we occupy the other side. Aster stood up from the ground. Wang Liang's voice was very harsh. I am deeply grateful to you. Because to unlock this shrine's seal, you can't do it without you. Aster stared blankly at the stone door. What exactly am I doing? Tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. Up until now, what was it for? Ever since she was born, she had been preparing for this day. Every day, she trained in sealing techniques. But now Wang Liang no longer cared about the Miko and spoke to Naruto. It's your turn now. The cave trembled as a tentacle came out. No, to be precise, it wasn't a tentacle, nor was it a snake head. The snake head had turned into a dragon head. The array beneath Aster collapsed and she fell inside. At the same time, Several tentacles with dragon heads also appeared in front of Naruto and attacked Naruto. A threat. A sense of fear rose from his heart. Naruto used Flying Thunder God technique to disappear. The dragon head roared. The black chakra wrapped around the dragon head and body. The ominous aura of chakra was even more ominous than Nine Tails. Don't run, try and cut me in half again if you can. Wang Liang's voice came from all directions. Didn't you like my body a lot? Come on then. Why are you running? The dragon head chased after Naruto, tearing apart all the flying swords it encountered. Chapter 576. Naruto increased his speed and used mist release to protect his body. Naruto turned into a ray of lightning. The dragon head attacked him. Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Naruto disappeared and was teleported to the other side while maintaining his speed. Yomi's voice came from all directions. Do you only know how to dodge? Naruto ignored him and continued to accelerate. Flying Thunder God Jutsu was a spatial ninjutsu. To some extent, it should be the fastest ninjutsu, because it could teleport to another place in an instant. But it was different from real speed. Teleportation did not change the kinetic energy of an object. But with the increase in speed, Naruto's body's kinetic energy also increased. What Naruto needed to do now was to stall for time, increase his speed to the maximum, and then launch his strongest attack. The second time to dodge teleportation. Naruto's speed could no longer be seen by the naked eye. At this time, his speed was even faster than Stormwound's full speed. The third time to dodge teleportation. Naruto's speed was still increasing. The fourth time. The moment Naruto appeared, he slashed at the dragon head in front of him. An arc of lightning flashed, and the lightning was like a fog. Naruto's sword cut into the dragon head, and Kusunagi's sword moved around the dragon body, dragging a long line. The dragon body was cut in half from the middle. The puppet string was connected to the dragon body, and the next moment, the two halves of the dragon body were absorbed by Naruto into Preserved Egg's internal space. Preserved Egg felt the huge energy in the dragon body and was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. Big harvest, this one is comparable to the previous 10. One of the dragon heads was cut off. The other dragon heads had scarlet eyes, and chakra roared. Chakra was like a dark smoke. Rolling smoke, it attacked Naruto again. This time there were no more dragon heads alone, but two in a group. The two dragons attacked Naruto together. And dozens of dragons came out of the magma again. Naruto dodged with Flying Thunder God Jutsu. He increased his speed and used mist release to protect his body. But this time, the dragon heads attacked fiercely, and it was difficult to find an aerial attack. Naruto had to attack when he was halfway through his acceleration. Naruto's sword only cut into the scales, and the sword couldn't move around the dragon's body. The sword was stuck in the scales. The dragon heads at the side attacked Naruto. When Naruto drew his sword, he was hit by the dragon heads. Danger! Multiple shadows. Naruto quickly formed hand seals, and in the next moment, thousands of Naruto were distributed in the cave. The dragon head stopped. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Naruto summoned Ryuichi. Ghost technique. Dragon merged into Naruto's body. A pair of wings appeared behind Naruto. Naruto suddenly flapped his wings and increased his speed. Speed. This of to s. The dragon heads madly attacked the surrounding clones. In an instant, all of Naruto's clones were swept away. Only the flying sword clones with a real body were still struggling. On the other side, after Aster was swallowed into the demon's body, the purple light of the bell formed a phantom of a bell to protect Aster. But because Aster closed her eyes in fear, she didn't see this scene. While attacking Naruto, Morio was communicating with Aster at the same time. What are you afraid of? With that purple light, I can't merge with you. But is this really okay? You will see a lot of things in my body that you don't want to see. For example, in front of you, I will kill this person. What can you do about it? A kind-hearted person like you who thinks from the standpoint of a human will definitely feel heartache. Heartache, self-blame, and regret will always torture you. Is this really okay? Aster opened her eyes. She saw Naruto being chased by the demon. Aster's eyes widened. The illusion of death she saw and the scene in front of her completely overlapped. It wasn't a tentacle, nor a snake head, but a dragon head. In the illusion of death Aster saw, Naruto died in this scene. Tears once again flowed out like a fountain. It's all my fault. If it wasn't for me, Wang Liang wouldn't have regained control of his body. Naruto, you should leave. Why haven't you left yet? Wang Liang's voice sounded. Perhaps he wants to defeat me and save you. What an ignorant person. Just watch as I destroy him. Then watch as I destroy this world. You can't do anything if you just watch. Aster's eyes were fixed on Naruto. Aster remembered a technique her mother used to protect her when she was a child to seal away the demon. It was a technique that only the Miko could use if she was determined to die. It was a technique that could affect space-time. Aster's body lit up with white light. The scene in front of her eyes reversed. In the next moment, her consciousness appeared at the moment when Naruto carried her into the seal. Aster regained her senses and knew she had succeeded. She took off the bell on her body and carefully placed it on Naruto's body. Naruto, you must live. Aster released the bell, and the purple light on her body disappeared. Wang Liang's power approached Aster and wrapped around her. Wang Liang's voice whispered in Aster's ears. You gave the bell away? That's it. That's a good choice. At least you won't feel pain anymore. Enter my body and reunite with your mother. Wang Liang's power completely submerged Aster. Aster's eyes were still looking at Naruto at the last moment. Inside the cave, a phantom of a bell appeared on Naruto's body. When the dragon head hit Naruto's body, it was blocked by the bell, and could no longer cause damage to Naruto. Naruto was relieved. Things finally developed to this point. If he couldn't wait, Naruto was going to use Izanagi. Naruto wasn't worried about Aster. When the bell left Aster, the power sealed by the bell was also released. Next, it was Wang Liang's turn to be unlucky. Ninetails sealed the space. Preserved Egg hurriedly urged. Hurry up. Take advantage of this good opportunity to harvest a wave of waves. Naruto also thought so. Next, it's time to go all out. The eye patch on the left eye was taken off. At this time, Naruto has a total of 3 eyes. 2 normal eyes. The right eye is the original fox eye. The left eye is the Kamui Mangekyo Sharingan. The other vertical eye is in the middle of the eyebrows. It's the fusion of the ghost sprite technique. The vertical eye is very strange. If you look carefully, you will see that it's 2 Sharingans overlapping. But the overlap is not complete, it looks like a double eye. Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan Kamui. Naruto didn't use Kamui to directly hit the dragon head, but added Kamui's space-tearing rule to Kusanagi sword. Naruto learned a new application of Kamui's rule, Space Blade. Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Naruto disappeared and appeared on the dragon's body. On the dragon's body, the word life, under Naruto's feet was particularly conspicuous. This was left by Naruto when he was entangled with the opponent. There were also many left. The sword slashed down. This time there was no acceleration. Under the spatial rending law, the sword seemed to have penetrated nothing, and the long blade swept across the dragon's body. The dragon's body was cut. In Naruto's body, Preserved Egg's eyes were shining, and he madly urged Naruto, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. They are all great supplements, one more is a gain, one less is a loss. Chapter 577. After the bell was sent out. Inside Wang Liang's body, Wang Liang's voice sounded in Aster's ears. Is that all? It's a good choice. Come and fuse with my body. Wang Liang's power invaded Aster's body. Aster's tears fell like rain. She replied with a crying voice, that's all. If I knew it from the beginning, the villagers wouldn't have to sacrifice their lives. Mother, it's like this. The moment Aster came into contact with Wang Liang's power, she felt her mother's presence in Wang Liang's body. Aster thought of what Wang Liang said to her before. Miko and Wang Liang originally had the same physical body, and the so-called seal, it was the fusion of the two. Now it seemed that Wang Liang wasn't lying. A bright light lit up inside Wang Liang's body. The light emitted a holy aura that was completely different from Wangliang's aura. It was quiet, peaceful, warm, and loving. Aster stared blankly at the light, and the tears in her eyes stopped. Mother! The light shone on Aster's body, and the voice of the previous generation's Mithriya sounded in Aster's ears. Aster, I wanted you to live a peaceful life. At the same time, an illusion appeared in front of Aster's eyes. This time it wasn't an illusion of death. The scene was in the temple, and the person inside was her mother. Mother Mithriya was sitting on the throne of the temple, and the people of the temple were kneeling below. Mother Mithriya said, "You're not allowed to teach Aster any techniques other than the sealing technique." The people kneeling on the ground were frightened. This mission, Mother replied. With Aster's power, if she's not careful, she'll become a threat that surpasses Wangliang. Now that child can't control this power. Then simply use this stone to suppress this power. The power awakened because of death, and the villagers' lives will be used to suppress it. With the illusion, Aster received all the information about the bell at the same time. He knew that the transparent bell that wouldn't ring was made from the stone that his mother had told him about. It was also blessed with the power of the Mithriya. The purpose was to seal her. Her power would awaken when she was in danger. At this time, in order to strengthen the seal, the bell would devour the lives of the people around her. The illusion disappeared, and Mithriya came out of the light and hugged Aster. Mother, I even tried to protect you. I can't even trust you. Do you hate me? He felt the warmth of his mother's embrace and the familiar aura. Aster's tears, which had just stopped, gushed out again. No, Mother. Aster loves Mother the most. The image of Mithriya disappeared. Aster looked at her mother's final smile and wiped her tears. He closed his eyes and formed a seal with his hands. In the illusion just now, Aster knew the truth about the bell. At the same time, he also received all the memories of the previous generations which his mother. There was love for her, as well as all the witchcraft that the witch had mastered. Mother. Aster already knows how to use this power. Open. Chakra gathered energy within her body, and the laws materialized on the surface of her body, forming runes. A halo appeared above Aster's head. At the same time, outside the Wangliang's body, Naruto, who was planning to harvest the Wangliang, once again encountered a crisis. After Naruto cut off a tentacle with a dragon's head, the rest of the dragon's heads began to fuse together. For a time, the dragon's head became thicker and thicker, and the lines on it became more and more complicated. Chakra, which was previously pitch black like smoke, turned into a substance after the dragon's head fused together. It turned into scales with runes attached to the dragon's body. Naruto used the blade of the void again, but the blade and the dragon's body collided, and a thunderous explosion sounded. There was also the sound of metal colliding and friction. The blade of the void that Naruto had high hopes for was blocked. The mystic dragon became stronger again. At this time, Preserved Egg was no longer greedy for the monster's body, and his playful expression also disappeared. At this moment, there was only seriousness. It's very dangerous. Do you want to leave? Naruto refused. I can't leave. According to the development of the original world, the next step is to drag Aster out of the Wangliang's body. Then use the Rasengan that fused with the witch's power to defeat the monster. After the dragon's head converged into one, it opened its mouth to bite Naruto. The purple bell's shadow covered Naruto. The mystic dragon's teeth bit on the bell, and cracks appeared on the surface of the shadow. Such a change surprised Naruto. It stands to reason that with the bell, the monster can't hurt Naruto. But now, the bell doesn't seem to be able to last long. What's going on? Could it be that because the one who used the bell was not the witch, so the bell became weaker? After Preserved Egg heard that Naruto decided to stay, he suggested, if you want to continue to stay here, you can only use Izanagi to ensure your safety. Naruto replied, that's what I think too. Naruto didn't hesitate, and he made a hand seal. Izanagi. Record his state. Creak. Several cracks appeared on the bell's shadow made of energy again. After opening Izanagi, Naruto won't die before the end of Izanagi. But it's only before the end of Izanagi. Flying Thunder God Technique. Naruto planned to go out from the mystic dragon's mouth, but unexpectedly, the flying thunder god technique failed. Under the Sharingan, the surrounding space became extremely unstable under the mystic dragon's berserk chakra. Now even if Naruto wanted to leave, it would be difficult. Naruto turned his head to look at the altar, where the sealing circle was. He couldn't help but say in his heart, Aster, you have to hurry up. Perhaps it heard Naruto's prayer. The hole on the altar lit up with purple light. The color and aura were very similar to the bell that protected Naruto. Aster's ability awakened. The mystic dragon's mouth on the bell opened with the light, and at the same time, it let out a heart-wrenching roar. The opportunity is here. Naruto quickly accelerated to escape from the cage. In Morio's body, Aster opened her eyes. The solemn Aster raised her hand and touched the light beside her. Up until now there have been so many Miko. Now even their voices when they were young can be clearly heard. Is that so? How time flies. Aster's power erupted, illuminating Morio's body. At this time Morio also understood. Feeling the pain of his body being torn apart, Morio's hoarse voice trembled. So that's how it is. So the bell's function is to seal your power. Aster was expressionless. Let's stop here. Naruto, can you hear me? From now on, we'll live in the future world. This is my fate. Aster recalled what Naruto said to her. As long as I'm here you won't die. I will protect you. Demons and monsters are nothing. Those words were said by Naruto when he carried her into the place where Morio was sealed. Naruto, you big liar. Aster helplessly closed her eyes. Now Morio, let's disappear together. Aster raised her hands. She decided to perish together with Morio. This way, there will be no more Morio in the future world. A drop of tear flowed out from the corner of Aster's closed eyes. In this world, the only thing that made her feel reluctant was the person who broke into her world called Naruto. She didn't know when it started, but that person gave her a different feeling. That feeling was like a very important person in her life. However, that person no longer belonged to her. Aster continued to release her power outside her body. However, at this moment a bell rang. Ding-ling. Her power was suppressed back into her body. Aster opened her eyes in panic and saw Naruto with a pair of wings on his back and long hair flowing like streamers. Naruto grabbed her hand. Wipe your tears. You're much more beautiful when you smile than when you cry. Aster opened her eyes wide. Naruto. Naruto smiled. I'll take you out, then we'll work together to destroy the monster. The wings behind Naruto flapped, and he took Aster into the sky. Chapter 578. The cave where the Morio was sealed. To be precise, it should be the inside of an active volcano. Naruto flew to the top with Aster and looked down. With the altar as the center, the hot magma was constantly bubbling. At the same time, many connected stone pillars collapsed because of the Morio's painful screams. Aster, come and inject your power into the Rasengan in my hand. With the bell as the center, a fist-sized Rasengan formed in Naruto's hand. Why did he use the Rasengan? Why did he add a bell? Naruto wasn't very clear. According to the development of the original world, the demons were hit by this move. So, Naruto had no reason not to use it. Aster raised her hand with uncertainty. Naruto encouraged her. It's okay. Although this bell can seal your power, you can break out of the seal and inject your power into it. Aster chose to believe Naruto's words. She injected the Rasengan with the unique power of the priestess. For a moment, the Rasengan was shrouded in a layer of purple mist. A little more. It's far from enough. The Rasengan expanded again. Naruto raised his hand and injected chakra into the Rasengan. The Rasengan expanded from the size of a wash basin to the size of a wheel, then continued to grow until it was as big as a house. The purple light shone brightly. Naruto's wings flapped fiercely. Naruto held Aster and descended from the sky. He rushed straight into the hole in the altar. The purple Rasengan merged with the power of the priestess Aster unimpeded in the Morio's body. Naruto, attack that thing. That's that guy's heart. 100 meters below Naruto, there was a purple crystal. Naruto didn't hesitate to listen to Aster's words and pressed the Rasengan on it, accompanied by a loud noise. Ding! Crack! Crack! The crystal cracked like glass, and several lines appeared on its surface. Ping! A sound was heard. It exploded. The Morio's body violently twisted. Preserved egg in Naruto's body warned. Don't touch that crystal. And don't cut the Morio's body. The will of the world had already descended. Escape now. Naruto did not sense the will of the world. However, he did not question Preserved Egg's words. After hearing Preserved Egg's instruction, Naruto increased his speed to the maximum and rushed out with Aster in tow. After the Wangliang died, the magma began to boil. The connected stone pillars above the magma collapsed one after another. The first to fall into the lava was the altar in the center. The demon dragon also exploded at this moment, and its body fell into the lava. Naruto and Aster had already flown to the top of the volcano. When he turned around, he happened to see the scene before him. Was the lava that swallowed the demonic dragon's body controlled by the will of the world? Naruto held Aster in his arms and used his sword of Kusanagi to bombard the top of the volcano. Naruto followed closely behind. Using Kusanagi sword to clear the way, he rushed out of the volcano. Soon, not long after, the boiling lava could no longer be suppressed and rushed out of the crater. The active volcano had erupted. Feeling the eruption of the volcano, Hinata quickly called Naruto. Spiritual network. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Naruto replied, I'm fine, I'm not injured. The demons have been killed. How about you? Hearing that the famous person was fine, Hinata finally felt relieved. She replied, I'm still following your orders, beat up my brother. Still beating up? Naruto glanced at the map. At this time, Hinata's location was 60 kilometers away. Hinata Ninji was chased by Hinata for 60 kilometers? TSK, this brother-in-law of his is really pitiful. Then is Hinata Ninji okay now? Hinata quickly replied. It's not a big deal, it's just a flesh wound, There are some slight burns. I've been chasing them with fire release. Them? That's right, there's still Sasai. Alright, let's give them a few more ruthless moves. Then, let's give them a chance to escape. After Hinata agreed, Naruto hung up. Naruto took Aster and flew away from the volcano, finally landing on a stone mountain 7 or 8 kilometers away. Naruto, you put me down. Naruto put Aster on the ground. Aster was barefooted at this time. Naruto found a pair of shoes from the system inventory for Aster to wear. Aster blushed and put on the shoes. Thank you. Naruto smiled politely. It's nothing. What about you? What are you going to do next? The Morio has been eliminated. Is this the end of the witch's job? Aster thought for a moment. Although this Morio has been eliminated, what if there are others? So I plan to continue being a witch. Also, I want to pass on the witch's power to the next generation. The witch's face was slightly red. Naruto, are you willing to lend me your power? Pass on the witch's power to the next generation. Are you willing to lend me your power? The power of the next generation. Could it be, hiss? Naruto took a deep breath. Aster's appearance was very beautiful. She also looked very similar to Hinata. The two of them standing together could be said to be sisters. One was a black-haired princess. The other was a white-haired princess. And they were sisters. If he could marry both of them, Naruto could not help but let his imagination run wild. Inside his body, Naruto said to Century Egg, This Aster, does she have the world's will? Century Egg glanced at Naruto. It had an expression that said, I know what you're going to do. As long as it's a living creature of this world, it can become the carrier of the world's will. And the witch is the best carrier of the world's will. That's why you shouldn't think about being sisters. Is that so? Naruto was a little disappointed. He retorted, It can't be, right? If she can become the carrier of the world's will, then wouldn't Hinata be unable to? Century Egg mocked. You just thought of this problem? I thought I knew it long ago. You're right, even Hinata can't. Seeing Naruto's expression change greatly, Century Egg changed the topic. But it's not absolute. As long as you're not discovered by the world's will, you can have children with anyone. But if you're discovered by the world's will, then you can wait for the disaster to come. You need to understand about Kaguya Otsutsuki. Kaguya Otsutsuki, the woman who was KO'd and tied up by her son. How pitiful. So for safety's sake, I have to take down this world no matter what. Then after I take it down, Aster. Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up. Aster and Hinata were too similar. This made Naruto's thoughts go astray. Century Egg replied. Are you serious? You haven't been so greedy for women in the past. Century Egg's expression became serious. Could it be that the world's will has discovered it? And then match made you two together? Naruto was nervous by Century Egg's words. Century Egg shook his head again. Maybe not. You're on the side of the world's will this time, so you should be favored by the world. Maybe your luck with women has increased greatly. It's a pity that I can't touch the rules in this regard yet, so I can't help you see if it's luck with women. Naruto was relieved when he heard this sentence. Aster saw that Naruto didn't speak for a long time and couldn't help but ask, Naruto, don't you like me? Naruto opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. Aster summoned her courage and looked at Naruto's eyes with affection. But Aster likes you. Boom. This moment was like a bolt from the blue. At the same time, Obito suddenly asked for a call. Naruto didn't answer because his brain was numb. Immediately afterward, Obito left a message to Naruto. System prompt. Received Obito's message. System prompt. The message is a 4-star permission message, automatically broadcast according to the rules. System broadcast. Naruto. Senpai was taken away by Jiraiya. Chapter 579. Woodleaf Shinobi Village, Naruto's office. Tian was summoned by 6th Naruto Kakashi alone. Naruto-sama, what can I do for you? Perhaps because 6th Naruto of Woodleaf doesn't pay much attention to formalities, or because of the relationship between 6th Naruto, Sama and Metkai. When 6th Metkai's disciple, Tian saw 6th Naruto, he wasn't very formal, and he wasn't nervous. But soon Tian found that Kakashi today was a little different from the usual 6th Naruto, Sama. It seems a little more serious. Also, the beautiful secretary beside Naruto today is not here. Tian glanced around with the corner of his eyes, and his ears moved slightly to listen carefully. The beautiful secretary doesn't seem to be in the secretary's office. So at this moment, there is only her and Kakashi in this office. All the signs combined, Tian had a hunch that today's meeting wasn't just to chat. Sitting on Naruto's chair, Kakashi's slightly hesitant eyes were in a trance when he saw Tian. Unconsciously, Kakashi thought of an old friend Rin, who was selected as the Senpai's human pillar force. Naruto-sama? Tian was a little scared by Kakashi's stare, and couldn't help but call out tentatively. Kakashi finally returned to his senses. Well, I called you here today because I have an important task for you. Kakashi calmed down and asked, Tian, do you know something about the human pillar force? Hearing human pillar force, Tian thought of Naruto. Many people know that Naruto's Bijou broke out and destroyed the Umbu building. So he replied, I know a little. Kakashi nodded. Then he explained, then you should also know about Iwagakure and Kimogakure human pillar force incidents. Iwagakure human pillar force incident. Yambi human pillar force and Gobi human pillar force disappeared, and Kimogakure broke through Iwagakure. Kimogakure human pillar force incident. Nibi human pillar force was kidnapped by Iwagakure, which was the fuse of the 4th Shinobi World War. These things involve too many things, and there's no need to hide it. Therefore, all the ninjas in Konoha are well aware of this. Tian replied, I know. Kakashi sighed. You should be very clear about the importance of human pillar force. The village can't do without human pillar force. At least in the case of other villages, we can't do without. Kakashi's expression was solemn, and Tian's heart became more and more uneasy. Naruto-sama, you called me here today for... Kakashi took a deep breath. Woodleaf needs a human pillar force, and you are the person chosen by Woodleaf to be the human pillar force. Then Kakashi said a lot of comforting words and encouragement. He talked about responsibility and obligation. He also talked about glory and dedication. However, Tian Tian didn't listen to most of these. Tian Tian felt a little confused. Human pillar force is a monster in the eyes of Woodleaf villagers. It's a monster, it's ominous. Even she deeply felt these because she knew Naruto. She knew Naruto's experience in Woodleaf, Demon Fox's child. At that time, the most famous person in Woodleaf besides Naruto was Naruto. And now, she wants to be the human pillar force. Then what? Will her teammates change the way they look at her because of this? Xiaoli and Hinata Ningji will treat her as a monster in the future, right? She doesn't have many friends. If even these few people ignore her, then Kakashi felt that Tian Tian's mood wasn't right, and saw that Tian Tian didn't listen to most of what he said. He sighed helplessly. I called you here today to let you be mentally prepared. The tailed beast to fuse with is the more gentle three-tailed. Okay, today's matter can't be revealed to anyone. This is Woodleaf's top secret. If it's revealed, it's betrayal. Kakashi couldn't continue. He could only say, go and rest. He watched Tian Tian, who was originally cheerful, walk out in a daze. Kakashi didn't feel good either. He thought of Naruto. The pressure that human pillar force is under, only human pillar force can feel it. The feeling of being isolated by the whole world. Misunderstood by everyone. The feeling of not being understood, not being trusted. That kind of pressure. Kakashi closed his eyes. He didn't understand why Naruto left the village. In fact, he even blessed him in the deepest part of his heart. This kind of emotion shouldn't be something that Naruto should have, but he kept it in his heart with a clear conscience. Or he hid it in the bottom of his heart. Just when Woodleaf had chosen Tian Tian to be the three-tailed human pillar force, Naruto was still standing outside the demon country, sealing Morio. At this time, under the active volcano that was erupting, Aster had just confessed to Naruto. Naruto received Obito's message in a daze. Sanbai. Captured by Jiraiya. Originally, Naruto thought that capturing Sanbai was going to be a success. There was no reason for failure. Spiritual network. Naruto found Obito. He asked, what's the situation? How did it fail? How many people did you use? Obito replied one by one. The situation is that Sanbai was captured by Jiraiya. We thought that Woodleaf would send people, but we didn't expect them to send Jiraiya directly. Akatsuki sent 2 people, me and Zetsu. In other words, Jiraiya took Sanbai under the nose of Zetsu and Obito? Obito probed. How about we launch Akatsuki and attack Woodleaf? But in this case, Uchiha Itachi will probably not join. Won't join? Naruto scoffed at Obito's statement. Not only won't join, but Uchiha Itachi will probably betray them. Others don't know, but Naruto still knows that Uchiha Itachi was a spy placed in the Akatsuki by Sandaime Naruto. But, the embarrassing thing is that only Sandaime Naruto knows about this. The death of the 3rd Hokage is a big deal. Leave it to me. Naruto thought carefully and finally made a decision. Obito was stunned. But how do you explain this to Zetsu? Naruto said proudly. Do I need to explain it to him? After showing off, Naruto said seriously. Akatsuki still has 2 spots, right? Leave one for me. Obito understood. You want to officially join the Akatsuki? Naruto replied. Well, after I catch the Sanbai, I will officially join the Akatsuki. Obito asked. Then the little flying squirrel? Naruto said. Don't worry about it, I have my own arrangements. Let it continue to occupy the pit. Naruto wouldn't say that the little flying squirrel has become preserved egg's plaything. Spiritual communication is just a blink of an eye in the real world. Aster was still standing in front of Naruto with a red face, waiting for Naruto's reply. Naruto, you don't like me? Naruto said. How can that be? You are so cute. At this time Hinata came out, or to be precise, she stopped halfway. She looked at the scene in front of her with a confused face. This is bad. Naruto quickly remedied. Like a brother and sister. Chapter 580. Since Wang Liang was killed, the matter of the ghost country should be over. Next, everyone should go back to their own homes. But halfway through, Naruto had another plan. He wanted to invite the witch Aster to the snow country. In the backyard of the temple of the ghost country, Aster, Naruto, and Hinata were sitting together. Aster, come with me to the snow country. Aster's eyes widened. Hinata's eyes also widened. This matter was really too sudden. Naruto didn't discuss it with her before. Therefore, Hinata didn't know what Naruto wanted to do. Aster was the first to recover. Snow country? Before, Aster had asked about Naruto's origin, but Naruto didn't say anything, so Aster didn't ask anymore. Naruto nodded. Aster was a little nervous. Her hand couldn't help but pinch the corner of her clothes. You want to take me home? The snow country was indeed Naruto's home, so Naruto nodded. Aster took a deep breath. Naruto, Aster is very happy that you can say this to me, but in the ghost country, there is still my family. And the temple. Aster still wants to be a witch. I can't promise you directly, or can you stay in the ghost country? Naruto didn't answer Aster's question. Your family and the people of the temple can go to the snow country together. You don't need to worry about your duty as a witch. I will set up a new temple for you in the snow country. Aster was shocked by Naruto's domineering words. Then, Naruto directly took Aster's hand and started the transmission. At the same time he told Hinata, I will take Aster to see the snow country. You wait for me here, I will be back in half an hour. Hinata wanted to say something but hesitated. The next moment, Naruto pulled Aster and disappeared. Naruto-kun, he don't tell me. Hinata's mind replayed the scene from yesterday. Aster and Naruto stood together. Naruto, you don't like me? How could that be? You're so cute. Hinata twisted her fingers together and lowered her head. She felt suffocated. It was an indescribable feeling. It seemed that he was about to lose something very important. Taking a deep breath, Hinata comforted herself. Don't overthink it. Naruto also said that it's a brother-sister relationship. Although she said that, Hinata couldn't help but bite her lips. Snow Country capital. Naruto and Aster directly teleported to the most prosperous area of the Snow Country. This is the Snow Country. It's the city of miracles that was born in ice and snow. Aster was stunned as she looked around. The exotic scenery of the Snow Country and the modern machinery had completely subverted Aster's understanding of the world. Aster pointed at a hovering car flying in the sky and asked, What is that? Naruto introduced, Rune Hovering Car, a transportation vehicle driven by chakra. Aster blinked and pointed at another robot with a metallic luster. Then, what about this one? Naruto continued, Model H-Rune Mechanical Puppet, a household-type mechanical puppet, also driven by chakra. Its purpose is to help with grocery shopping and housework. It can be considered as a nanny. Naruto introduced it to Aster. Inside Naruto's body, Preserved Egg gossiped. Don't tell me you want to take Aster as well? With her physique, if you have sex with her, it would be hard for the world's will to not notice you. Naruto rolled his eyes. Clap, 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 clap your ass. I just don't want the witch to stay in the ghost country. If the witch is in the ghost country, then when the war spreads to the ghost country, the witch will definitely be involved. This will hinder me from unifying the world. Preserved Egg made a look of deep suspicion. Is that so? Naruto didn't answer, because the soul fluctuations were enough to prove that he wasn't lying. Naruto took Aster around the Snow Country and helped her apply for a resident identity card. He said he wanted to experience it first. Aster was shocked by the Snow Country again and again until she became numb. Come to the Snow Country. I will build a shrine for you here. I can bring your family, servants, and people from the shrine. This way, you can continue to fulfill the witch's responsibility here. Also, have you seen those interesting inventions? You can also participate in the research. After understanding the principles, these things are actually not as magical as you think. The core knowledge is just the use of seals, curses, and rules. Naruto's mouth was like a Gatling gun that pressed the trigger, spewing out all kinds of beauty and correctness that were left behind. Aster was dizzy from the persuasion. Finally, she nodded. I have no problem. But can you really bring everyone here? Those people. Naruto directly interrupted. No problem at all. Aster felt a little guilty. Then can you really build a shrine? Do you have that much power here? In Aster's view, this was simply a paradise. Everything here was too beautiful. The people who could decide things here had a much higher status than the famous people of the ghost country. Naruto introduced himself. I'm the imperial preceptor here. It's easy to build a lookout, and this city was built according to my idea. Aster took a deep breath. She suddenly found that every time she thought she already knew Naruto, he would make her reappear with a new appearance. The first time they met, and the other party was just a... Aster shook her head. Words like servant and mercenary were too ridiculous. Naruto took Aster back to the ghost country's shrine. On the same day, all the people of the ghost country's shrine were gathered in the hall of the shrine. Then they suddenly disappeared, as if they had evaporated from the world. When the name of the ghost country was known, it was already 3 days later. The whereabouts of the witch of the ghost country were spread to the outside world. Some people said that the witch was kidnapped. Some people said that the witch died together with the monsters. Some people said that the witch took her servants back to the Holy Kingdom. But in fact, the witch joined the Mercenary Academy and became a proud student of the Mercenary Academy. At the same time, other sorcerers of the shrine also joined. As for the matter of building a shrine, the witch refused. Aster's original words were, "The snow country doesn't need a shrine. If it needs one, it will be the Great Snow Mountain." After learning that the most powerful teacher of the Mercenary Academy and all the rune technology came from the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute, Aster looked at the Great Snow Mountain like all the other students of the Mercenary Academy. As for the principal Naruto, he had already risen to the level of a great man. Worship, admiration, and because of these two fermented love. Because of this, the pH value of the air in the snow country dropped significantly. The most serious one was a jealous person called Hinata. The Great Snow Mountain living room. Tsunade took Hinata's hand. "How is it going? You've been in the ghost country for so long, you too." Hinata pouted pitifully. Tsunade was full of disappointment. "You didn't do anything to him?" This time, Hinata's face wasn't red at all. There was only grievance on her face. And then she told Tsunade about Aster. Tsunade shouted, "Naruto!" When Naruto heard Tsunade's angry shout, he was scared and directly teleported to the living room. "What's wrong, Tsunade-ne-san?" Hinata panicked. If Tsunade directly questioned, then Tsunade put her hands on her waist. "Why hasn't the Een seal been cultivated yet? Are you looking down on the Een seal? You're looking down on me as a teacher." Hinata. Naruto. Why did he suddenly bring this up? Naruto was a little panicked. With a sad face he said, "Tsunade-ne-san, I've been cultivating every day. It's not my fault, you know." Tsunade waved her hand. "From today onwards, you can't see Hinata until you cultivate the Een seal. I'll take Hinata to live with me. Until you cultivate the Een seal." Naruto was stunned. Hinata was also stunned. Hinata looked at Tsunade pitifully. She muttered in her heart, "Tsunade-sama, are you sure you're helping me? Aren't you making things worse for me?" Chapter 581. Tsunade did what she said and left with Hinata when she left the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute that day. Naruto stayed alone in the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute for a long time. After coming back to his senses, he made up his mind to get the Een seal out. This closed-door training lasted for a week. As for the result, chakra condensed a lot of yang attributes, but the zero-shaped curse seal never appeared. On the 8th day of the retreat, Naruto received information about the Sanbai. To be precise, it was information about the Sanbai's human pillar force. According to the information, Woodleaf intended to make Tion the Sanbai's human pillar force. As for the whereabouts of the Sanbai, there was still no information. At the same time, in the snow country, Tsunade's residence, in a large manor, beside the open-air swimming pool, Tsunade was wearing a bikini and Hinata were lying on a reclining chair in the sun. She said that she was basking in the sun, but only Tsunade was enjoying it. Hinata was just forced to enjoy life. "Tsunade-sama, it's been a week. Do you think Naruto is with Aster now?" Tsunade raised her eyes and glanced at Hinata. "Why are you still blaming me for pulling you away from him?" Hinata pouted and said unhappily, "No." Tsunade raised her eyebrows. "Oh, I can smell the jealousy." Hinata snorted and turned her head away. Tsunade laughed a little and raised her hand to push Hinata. "I tell you, this man is a bastard. The better you treat him, the more Tion pesters him. He won't feel good about you and won't appreciate it. But once you're indifferent to him, he won't be able to sit still." Hinata's face was full of doubts. Tsunade said again, "I told you to be indifferent to him, but with your personality, you won't be able to do it. That's why I pulled you away from him. This is good for you." "Is that so?" Hinata asked suspiciously. "Really? Are you sure you don't want Naruto to inherit your legacy? Not to let Naruto cultivate the Yin seal?" Hearing Hinata's question, Tsunade's movement stiffened. Then she quickly denied. "How could it be for myself? Even if I don't urge him to cultivate the Yin seal, with Naruto's character, he will insist on cultivating. It's only a matter of time before Naruto learns the Yin seal. I'm not in a hurry." After explaining, Tsunade scolded, "Hinata, if you don't believe me, I won't help you in the future." Hinata pouted. "Believe it." As they were talking, Hinata suddenly received a call from Naruto. The spiritual network. "Hinata, Without waiting for Naruto to finish, Hinata asked as fast as she could, "Naruto-kun, have you finished the task given by Tsunade-sama?" Silence. Naruto, the graduate student from Otaku Mountain, rubbed his nose in embarrassment. "No. That. I'm looking for you to talk about another thing. There's news about the Sanbai in Konoha. I've decided to go to Woodleaf." Hearing Woodleaf, Hinata's heart tightened, and she thought of her family. She hadn't seen her family for more than 3 years, almost 4 years. "Naruto-kun, can you?" Hinata wanted to ask Naruto if he could take her with him. But she also knew that the possibility was very low. Because not long ago, Hinata Ningji saw her. Woodleaf must have information about her now. If she didn't go back, others wouldn't know who she was. Once she went back, it would be hard to explain. Unless she changed her appearance, but it was impossible to recognize her parents. At most, she could only take a look from a distance. Hinata didn't finish her sentence and said, "Okay, Naruto-kun, you have to be careful." Hinata didn't want to make things difficult for Naruto. She didn't want Naruto to be in danger. If she went back, Hinata felt that there wouldn't be any benefits. It would only increase the possibility of her being exposed. Naruto understood Hinata's meaning. Naruto's heart was also full of apologies for this. Which child didn't miss home? Hinata left with him when she was 13 years old. And she had been away for 3 years. "Hinata, it won't be long before I take you back to Woodleaf openly." Hearing this, Hinata's face finally showed a smile. Well, Hinata believes in Naruto-kun. Naruto promised again. "In less than a year, I will take you back." After the call ended, the smile on Hinata's face was still on her face. Tsunade on the side wondered, "What's wrong? Are you suddenly happy again? Naruto looked for you?" Hinata nodded. She only said that the two couldn't meet, but she didn't say that they couldn't contact each other through the spiritual network, so there was no need to hide this. Tsunade quickly sat up from the recliner excitedly and asked, "Why did Naruto look for you? Did he condense the Yin seal?" Hinata shook her head. "No, Naruto said that he has news of Sanbai, and he's going to Woodleaf." Tsunade was stunned. "Huh? Just because of this? Because of this, you have no reason to be happy, right? What else?" Hinata didn't hide it, and directly said Naruto's original words. "Naruto-kun said that he will take me home within a year." Tsunade's expression changed and she was a little emotional, and asked again, "He really said that? He said within a year?" Hinata was stared at by Tsunade's eyes and couldn't help but feel guilty. "Yes, it's within a year, what's wrong?" Tsunade took a deep breath and blinked her eyes. It seems that this sentence needs a lot of psychological preparation to be able to digest. Hinata felt that something was wrong and said with uncertainty, "Tsunade, what's wrong?" Tsunade sighed. "This day has come. Naruto said that he will take you back within a year. With his character, I think he has made a decision to break the stalemate between Kumogakure and Woodleaf within a year and push the battle to the climax. And during this period, at least take down Woodleaf." Hearing Tsunade's words, Hinata was also stunned. She was so happy just now that she didn't think of this at all. She couldn't help but worry. Naruto going to Woodleaf this time? Will he directly declare war? Will Naruto be in danger? Tsunade said with uncertainty. It shouldn't be this time. Isn't it because of Sanbai this time? Although Tsunade said so, Hinata was still very worried. She couldn't help but say, how about asking Tobirama-sensei? When it came to her second grandpa, Tsunade was a little scared. If Naruto has any arrangements, second grandpa should be the one who knows best. How about, Hinata, you go and ask? Hinata didn't even think about it and directly hung up the phone. However, the answer she got was only one sentence, meaning, Naruto does have a plan, but if you want to know, ask Naruto directly. He doesn't have the authority to say. After Hinata told Tsunade the original words, she pushed Tsunade and said, how about you go and ask? Tsunade rolled her eyes. She didn't think that her second grandpa would tell her anything. In fact, when she was a child, her second grandpa was very good to Tsunade. But because Tsunade had been entangled with a dead person and refused to marry again, Tobirama didn't have a good face to Tsunade. Chapter 582. Woodleaf Ninja Village. The morning mist was thin. Naruto's return didn't attract anyone's attention. As for Woodleaf's barrier, it didn't make any sound. There were only occasional ripples on the water balls floating in the security department. Those were the Woodleaf ninjas coming in and out. Woodleaf didn't change much. Naruto walked on the street of Woodleaf. His hair was short, only reaching his shoulders, and the color was black. His appearance was slightly adjusted, and he looked a lot more mature. His height didn't change. That's right, this time Naruto came directly in his body, and he didn't use spirit transformation jutsu to parasitize someone else's body. Naruto stopped at a ramen restaurant. It's not that he wanted to eat ramen. When he was in Woodleaf, he didn't come to the ramen restaurant since he took control of his body. Naruto stopped because he saw an acquaintance. The first sensei he met when he came to this world. Iruka. 3 years have left a lot of marks on Iruka's body, and he became more mature and steady. And there was another scar on his face. A bowl of ramen. Naruto sat down not far from Iruka. Iruka glanced at Naruto casually, and then continued to eat ramen. Hello, guest. What flavor do you want? It wasn't uncle who spoke, but a girl. Naruto replied casually. A bowl like this one is good. I think he's eating very happily. The person Naruto was Iruka. Iruka looked up at Naruto again, and Naruto nodded in a friendly way. Iruka smiled slightly. The wound on his face was slightly hideous under this smile. Then the two didn't meet again. Iruka finished his ramen first and left, and Naruto continued to eat unhurriedly. After finishing his ramen, Naruto went to the tricolored meatball shop. This time he didn't meet any acquaintances. Naruto bought a tricolored meatball and left. Then he continued to stroll alone on the street while eating the meatballs in his hand. Inadvertently, Naruto strolled to the original location of the store manager's ninja store. The store was destroyed when Orochimaru invaded Woodleaf. Now he had built a new shop, but the people running it had changed. Naruto looked inside and didn't see anything familiar, so he didn't go in. Instead, he went to the new location of the store. The store manager and the Sakuragi sisters had all left, so Seiji didn't know who was in charge of the store. After thinking about it, Sakura's people, or Wood's people. Naruto complained in his heart as he walked to the new store. He walked to the store and entered. Naruto saw a familiar face. It was a disabled ninja with artificial limbs made by Naruto. Welcome. The store clerk bowed politely. Naruto smiled and nodded as he walked in. It was a casino. A casino under Naruto's name. Naruto was a little surprised that this casino was still in operation. Naruto thought that after Tsunade left, there would be no one to protect the casino, and it would have to close down. Walking in, Naruto looked up and saw a sign. He couldn't help but laugh. The sign said, Hyuga clan is not allowed to enter. Naruto shook his head with a smile and walked in. There were men and women, young and old, ordinary people, ninjas, and all kinds of people in the casino. Naruto's gaze swept over these people's faces. Then he found an interesting person. It was Mackay with a watermelon hairstyle and green tights. 7, 7, 7, Mackay shouted. In front of him was a slot machine. Now 2 wheels had turned to 7, and there was only one left. This guy, Mackay, actually likes to gamble. Naruto was interested and waited for the last wheel to stop. The 7 came out, but it missed slowly. Mackay's eyes widened, and the smile on his face froze on his face, and then he wailed, "No! There is definitely something wrong with your machine. I'm going to report you." Mackay glared fiercely at the staff around him. A security guard. But the security guard ignored him. Mackay continued to shout. "The last one just now was obviously a 7. You have to give me an explanation. If you don't expect me to put coins in again." Mackay clenched a coin tightly in his fingertips. Naruto found this tangled and serious look very interesting. He looked like a clown. Naruto walked over. "Are you sure you don't want to throw in?" Mackay replied seriously. "No. Even if I throw it, I won't throw it in." Naruto couldn't help but tease. "Why don't you give me this coin to try? I don't have change on me." Mackay was generous and threw the coin directly to Naruto. Then Naruto stuffed the coin into the slot machine. "Begin." The slot machine's 3 wheels started to turn. The first one stopped. 7. Naruto was stunned. But he didn't think much of it and just thought it was an accident. But the second one was still 7. The third one. Naruto focused and Mackay's eyes widened. The third wheel started to stop and landed steadily on the 7. Grand prize. Ding-ling. The slot machine shook, and then coins were spilled out of the slot machine. Naruto was stunned. Mackay was also stunned. Naruto did not expect that he would win the grand prize. Mackay, on the other hand, was wondering why this prize did not go to him. This was his coin. If he had thrown in, "Wait. Don't tell me you're a scammer. How did you win?" There was quite a commotion when he won the grand prize. Many people gathered around and cheered. However, Mackay's questioning quieted down quite a bit. Everyone stared at Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes. "If your thoughts are always so dirty, you'll never win the grand prize. Then, I'll give you all the coins I won. Just take it as returning the coins you borrowed from me." A second ago, he was still wondering if Naruto was a scammer. But when he heard that Naruto was giving him all the money he won, Mackay was no longer confused. He said in surprise, Is this okay? I'll only lend you 1 coin." Naruto nodded. "That's right. 1 coin allowed me to win so much money. The value of this coin should be worth that much. So I didn't lose out. You can take the money with a clear conscience." Was that the logic? Mackay scratched his head. "What you said seems to make sense." "Make sense? Make sense my ass." However, this money was of no value to Naruto. It was worth it to divert everyone's attention. Sure enough, most of the people's attention gathered on Mackay. Mackay put the coins on the ground into a bucket, and then sent it to the front desk to exchange for notes. Naruto stared at the slot machine in a daze. Naruto thought of a possibility. He communicated with Preserved Egg in his mind. "Preserved Egg, do you think I'll win if I throw in another coin?" Naruto was not addicted to gambling. Instead, he thought of a possibility. Not long ago, he stood on the side of the world's consciousness and helped a lot. Now it was time to repay him. Preserved Egg replied, "I think the possibility of winning is very high." Mackay walked back. "Brother, do you still want to play? I'll lend you money if you play." Naruto turned to look at Mackay. He could not help but complain in his mind, "You're so smart." Chapter 583. Mackay gestured to Naruto with a coin. "You really don't want to try again?" In front of the slot machine, Naruto hesitated for a moment. The first time was a coincidence, but if it happened again, it would prove something. "Come, lend me another coin." As Naruto spoke, Mackay quickly handed the coin to Naruto. Ding ding. After the coin was tossed and the switch was pressed, the slot machine started to spin. The first one, 7. Naruto and Mackay both gasped and stared at the slot machine. The second one, 7 for a moment. Gasps could be heard around the two of them. The third one. Still 1 again. It was unreasonable, simple and crude. 1 again. With a shake of the slot machine, ding-ling-ling sounds of coins were heard, followed by a hualala sound of coins spilling out. 1. Great. 1 again. Mekhe was very excited, and so were the people around them who were watching the show. Many people cheered, and the scene was very lively. Brother, are you going to give me the money this time? Mekhe looked at Naruto expectantly. Naruto's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Why didn't he realize that this guy was so thick-skinned? The prize from your coin is obviously yours. As soon as Naruto said this, the people watching the show started to jeer again. Mekhe was about to go to the front desk with a bucket of coins, but after a few steps he turned back. He took out a coin and was about to stuff it into Naruto's hand. Want another one? Naruto took a step back and didn't touch the coin. He was really afraid that if he touched the coin, it would win the prize. No, maybe the slot machine is broken. Mekhe looked at Naruto expectantly. You really don't want another one? Naruto wanted to strangle Mekhe. Seeing that Naruto was not playing, Mekhe took the coin and put it into the slot machine. The 3 wheels spun. This time, the first one was a shuriken, the second one was a kunai, and the third one was a 7 that came late. Failed. He continued to throw, still failed. Mekhe changed to another slot machine. The first one was a kunai from Mount Mayaboku. The second one failed. Mekhe didn't believe it, and continued to throw. After throwing dozens of coins, he only won 3 shurikens. Just when Naruto thought that Mekhe would lose all the coins in the bucket, Mekhe surprisingly stopped. He decisively stopped at the edge. However, the people around him were still cheering. Throw in another one. Maybe the next one will get it. Yes, one more won't make a difference anyway. Mekhe took a deep breath and put his hands together. My youth depends on this coin. Huh. With a shout, Mekhe stuffed the coin in. As a result, maybe it was because of his youth he didn't win. This time, Mekhe didn't play anymore, and took the remaining coins to exchange for money. Without any excitement to watch, Naruto planned to stroll around other places. For example, the store manager's new ninja store next door, and the theme cinema. In a sense, these are his properties. Brother. Wait. Mekhe caught up. Naruto refused directly. I won't borrow coins. He was really afraid that Mekhe would take out another coin for him. Naruto felt that he couldn't help but beat him up. Mekhe waved his hand again and again, showing his big front teeth. No, I just thought about it. I feel like I'm taking advantage of you. Ha! You feel like you're taking advantage of me? Naruto suddenly wanted to pry open Mekhe's head to see what was going on inside. And then, Naruto looked at Mekhe with an expression of looking at a husky. Mekhe scratched his head embarrassedly. Waha that, it's noon, I'll treat you to lunch. Should I agree? Mekhe is Tian's sensei. It would be good if he could get close to him. Although he didn't plan to get close to Tian. Naruto's original plan was to find the sanbai, and take it away directly. Okay, what are you going to treat me to? Mekhe smiled with his big teeth and gave a thumbs up. Refreshing. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Mekhe, the Azure Beast of Wood Leaf. Mekhe even made a pose, feeling the eyes around him looking at him like a fool. Naruto suddenly didn't want to stand with this person. How shameful. Naruto decided to turn around and leave. However, Mekhe came over again. Wait for me. Why are you as heartless as Kakashi? Naruto was speechless. Mekhe said again, my name is Mekhe. Naruto said. Oh, Mekhe asked. What about you? Naruto replied simply. I'm a tree at the foot of the mountain. This was the legal identity that the underground exchange had arranged for him. His father was a fruit seller at the foot of the mountain, and had died last month. His son, who lived in the Fire Nation, had come back to take over the shop. Brother Shu, what do you want to eat? Brother Shu, do you want to eat barbecue? But Tian is so hot today. Why don't we eat ramen? Naruto really regretted it now. He shouldn't have started a conversation with this idiot. This guy was not only stupid, but he was also a chatterbox. He could tolerate a chatterbox, But he couldn't stand a hot-blooded chatterbox. If he talked to you and you ignored him, he would hit you with his hand and remind you to listen to him. As for Naruto, in order not to appear too strong, he restrained all his strength and relaxed his body. Thus, he was stunned by the verbal attack. In the end, he had no choice but to talk to him. Are you a ninja? What's your level? Don't you have to work today? Mekkei grinned proudly. I'm a blue beast from Woodleaf. Jounin. I'm on leave today. Let me tell you, paid leave. Are you jealous? As he spoke, he hit Naruto again. Naruto took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. He tried to find a topic to talk about. Really? Aren't Jounins very powerful? You don't look that powerful. Also, don't Jounins have their own teams? Do you? There was no need to disguise his disdainful gaze. A Jounin is already so awesome. I'm the state teacher of the Snow Country. Even a bunch of Kage-level underlings aren't as high profile as you. Mekkei explained seriously. I'm a blue beast from Woodleaf. Haven't you heard of it? You must not be a big shot. Let me tell you, a lot of big shots came to Woodleaf and asked for me by name. Naruto still had a face of disbelief. Looking at Mekkei's tangled face, Naruto finally let out a sigh of relief. I also have a team, but they're also on leave. Naruto still had a face of doubt. Mekkei continued. If you can't judge my strength, then you know how powerful Naruto is, right? Even if you don't know, you can imagine it, right? Naruto nodded cooperatively. Mekkei continued. Then I'll tell you secretly, Naruto was defeated by me. Outside the Ilu Noodle restaurant, a man and a woman were talking and laughing as they walked by. When passing by the noodle restaurant, the man suddenly quickened his pace. It looked like he was avoiding the god of plague. Then he suddenly stopped when he heard the words inside the noodle restaurant, and turned to the noodle restaurant. Kakashi came. Naruto had already seen Kakashi in the perception barrier. What a coincidence could it be? It was also related to luck. God couldn't bear to see him continue to be angry and gave him a chance to vent his anger? Naruto continued to doubt. Really? Can you beat Naruto? Are you bragging? Mekkei put down his chopsticks. What I said is true. Just yesterday, I beat that guy up. The curtain of the noodle restaurant was lifted. Kakashi's face was dark. You beat me up yesterday? Why don't I remember? Mekkei's body was petrified. Naruto's heart was overjoyed. He was waiting for a good show. Chapter 584. Kakashi. Mekkei looked at Kakashi in a daze. This scene was like a husky being caught red-handed by its owner. Naruto turned to look at Kakashi. In 3 years, Kakashi's body didn't seem to have changed much. He still wore a mask on his face, and covered one eye with a forehead protector. There was also a head of white hair. But there were changes. For example, the woman who came with Kakashi seemed to have a closer relationship with Kakashi. Naruto also knew that woman. She was the medical ninja who taught him medical ninjutsu, Hana Fujita. Were the two of them together? If they were together, that would be a good thing. Kakashi's face darkened as he stared at Mekkei. When did I get beaten up by you yesterday? Mekkei forced himself to calm down. Did you forget? How about another round? Kakashi, I challenge you. Normally, Kakashi would refuse. But today, Kakashi stared at Mekkei and spat out a word. Okay. Today, he agreed. Mekkei was stunned for a moment, then became overjoyed. Mekkei's joy was to challenge Kakashi. Naruto moved closer to Hana Fujita. Who do you think will win, Naruto, Sama, or this Woodleaf Blue Beast? Hana Fujita didn't reject Naruto's friendliness. She smiled and said, Blue Beast? I actually hope that this Azure Beast can beat up this white-furred wolf. Hana Fujita's voice wasn't soft. Kakashi's expression darkened even more. He looked at Hana Fujita with resentment. Naruto saw this scene. There was a situation. There was definitely a situation. Naruto dared to guarantee with his 3 years of experience in raising pigs. Kakashi, this pig, definitely had the attitude of wanting the cabbage, and the cabbage did not refuse. Yes, the pigs that Naruto had been raising for 3 years belonged to Big Fool's family, the group of twin-winged tigers. Kakashi and Mekkei began fighting. A showdown of physical techniques. The moment they clashed, Mekkei was knocked down by Kakashi's electric shock. The match ended quickly. Mekkei convulsed on the ground. You cheated. Kakashi didn't pay attention to Maite guy and turned around to leave. Naruto moved closer to Mekkei and said, I told you you were just bragging. Mekkei lay on the ground with smoke coming out of his mouth. On the other side, Kakashi was unable to leave because Hana Fujin said that she wanted to eat ramen. Thus, the four of them sat in a row and ate the ramen. This time, Naruto was the first to finish and then bid farewell. After Naruto left, Kakashi frowned as he looked at Naruto's back and asked Mekkei, Do you know this person? Is he a villager? Mekkei listlessly sucked on the noodles one by one. He replied, I guess so. Kakashi frowned. You don't know him? Mekkei seemed to have suffered a blow as his answer was surprisingly concise. I know him. Hana Fujin asked curiously, What's wrong? Kakashi shook his head. He feels a little familiar. Mekkei mocked. Nonsense, we're all from the village. Even if we don't know each other, we might have seen each other on the streets. So crazy all day. Kakashi continued to eat his noodles, but Kakashi was clearly distracted and thinking about something. Naruto didn't wear an eye mask this time, so he wouldn't be recognized by Kakashi at a glance. Both of his eyes were special contact lenses produced by the Great Snow Mountain, and looked no different from ordinary people. Before leaving, Kakashi once again inquired Mekkei, Do you know that person's name? Mekkei sucked on the noodles one by one. Yamashita tree. On the other side, Naruto continued to stroll after leaving the ramen restaurant. The system connected to Woodleaf's perception barrier. Woodleaf's situation was panoramic. Naruto knew that Kakashi would pass by the ramen restaurant just now, but he didn't know that Kakashi would come at the right time when Mekkei said that he beat up Kakashi. It was also interesting. Where to go next? Naruto saw Jiraiya outside a pool in Woodleaf. Naruto shook his head. He didn't intend to see Jiraiya. Someone was watching him so soon. In the perception barrier, an Umbu ninja appeared around Naruto. Only one person? It seems that they didn't take him seriously. Since someone was watching him, he couldn't just stroll around. Naruto returned to the fruit store that he was going to inherit under his disguise. Naruto's office. Kakashi looked at the information about Yamashita tree collected by the Umbu. It was all about Woodleaf. The process of Naruto meeting Mekkei in the casino was clearly recorded. Beside Kakashi, Hanatsuki Fuma stood beside him. What's wrong? Is there a problem with this person? Kakashi handed the information to Hana. Hana's eyes widened when she saw that Naruto won 2 prizes and said in disbelief, What? 2 prizes? Why not me? I also. Hana quickly shut up and shrank her neck cutely. I let it slip. Although Woodleaf didn't have many restrictions on gambling, Naruto's secretary liked to gamble, so it wouldn't be good if word got out. She then cleared her throat and changed the topic. Do you suspect that he cheated? Kakashi shook his head. He had already asked about the casino. He pointed at the bottom line. Hana's gaze moved down and saw a mark. He borrowed money from Mekkei twice and gave it all to Mekkei after winning. Why didn't I encounter such a good thing? Hana's eyes widened. Kakashi froze. In the past, when Hana helped him deal with problems, she was always on point. This time, why did she keep going astray? Could it be because of gambling? Ahem, don't you think that he's being a bit too generous? Kakashi asked directly. Hana shook her head. It's okay. I feel like he's quite loyal and a bit handsome. Giving money to others for free is considered handsome? Could it be that he's been so busy dealing with official business recently that he's lost touch with society? Kakashi was dumbfounded. Hana continued. Mekkei isn't bad either, although he doesn't seem to do things properly. For example, he took that person's money this time, but then used the money to treat that person to a meal. That's good too. Kakashi raised his eyebrows. Hana guessed, or maybe that person knows that Mekkei is a ninja, so he wants to befriend him? If that's the case, that person didn't spend a single cent to get to know a powerful jonin, and even got him to treat him to a meal. Not only is this not a loss, it's a huge profit. Hearing Hana's words, Kakashi couldn't help but nod. If you say it like that, it makes sense. Then why does he want to befriend a wood-leaf ninja? Hana looked at Kakashi as if she was looking at an idiot. Do I need to tell you the reason why he wants to know someone stronger than him? Kakashi rubbed his nose with a brilliant smile. Hana asked, but this person is quite special for you to pay so much attention to him. Tell me, did you discover something else? Kakashi nodded. His physical fitness, as far as I can tell, is not lower than the average chunin. Hana blinked. You're saying he's a spy? Kakashi shook his head. I'm not sure yet, but I've already sent people to the Fire Country to gather information. There should be a reply tomorrow. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.